Ah, look at there. Welcome. Where are you going? I don't know if your audio's coming in. No. Hello, I'm back. Welcome to another edition of Outliers in Exile, or wherever we are, whoever you are. Um, uh, I don't know. I don't got a lot to say today. It's really cold here. I'm freezing. They have this thick fog outside. You can't even see in front of you, and I have to go out later, and it's cold. The fog is cold. So I'm dreading. I'm procrastinating. Um, I went to my little communication class today. It was okay. I think I'm gonna go back. It's the rest of the week, the next 4 days. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you look like you're in a hearse, all
No,
dressed in black.
I'm in the truck.
Oh, what's You just sit in the truck, or you going somewhere?
Yeah, I'm sitting here because the baby's sleeping, and then we got some exciting stuff going on.
Oh, like what?
Just got done with a job interview um at a hotel
Oh,
that
is that
wants
where
to.
you dressed up?
Yeah, that's why I'm dressed up. And then after that, we we just brought the RV here, um, and we're selling our RV. So so I'm just waiting for the other
Oh,
party.
okay. Well, I
Making moves.
yeah, it sounds like it. We both
Yeah,
kind of are. I hope they pay off.
I hope so too, man. I got inspired. I felt like I was accepting less for myself than I value myself more, and I think I have more to offer, and I think when I come through with a price that is a fair price, I think I should be paid it, you know.
When did all this start happening?
Um, well, over the like course of working for the store, um, I already knew that I wasn't going to stay there forever, and that it was kind of a job that was like, you know, it's an entry level job for the most
Hmm.
part. I mean, even though I'm like a manager and I have the keys and I have like the forklift and I could, I got all bunch of different stuff, to like do, I've got all kinds of stuff that's not entry level stuff. I'm still not getting paid enough to be actually doing all that shit. You know what I mean?
I don't think any of us are.
So, and
What
then
What are you going to be doing at the hotel?
I would be the front end
Oh,
manager.
okay.
So I would
Nice.
work for the general manager directly, and then I'd have like a staff under me.
So when Karen comes in and says, "I'd like to speak to the manager," that would be you.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I've done it a million times. It's not glorious, it's not glamorous, but I can do it. You know what I mean? I wish I could turn the light on, but we're on the East
No, it
Coast,
looks
buddy.
you it looks you look very gothic today. It's a good look. Is that What is that outside? Snow or just
Snow, yeah,
wow? Oh, look at that!
yeah.
Wow. Oh, it looks cold. I was complaining about the cold here, but
It's
I
30
took that.
degrees outside.
30?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So how am I looking clean shaven?
oh, let me see. I didn't notice.
You
Hang on.
can't really see in the
Let's
dark.
let's get a good look at you. Um, it's definitely a more of a hotel job look. It's more of a professional look.
Yeah, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, if you
Figured.
came in for a job interview, it would look more.
I think I killed it too. I killed it. Like I slayed it. I walked in and it was like I wasn't nervous at all. You know, took me in the office. Next thing you know, I'm just like, all right, where do you want to start? you know. And he pretty much was just like, all right, so well, why don't we just start with your work history? And I just laid it out for him in like 5 minutes, like, you know, everything I've done. You know, I ran a marijuana collective for like 5 years. I was the inventory manager. I had a team that I inspired every day. I had marketing to do. I had all kinds of stuff to do.
What? How did you up in the panelverse with all those skills?
Oh, so like it's not that I'm skillless, it's that I ran a hotel and a lot of the time during my day, um, I didn't have anybody to really talk to except the guest, and I didn't have any friends, and like out here, and so it was like I went online one day, and this is weird actually because I wasn't even looking for that. Like I hopped online because I was looking up a book called Sovereignty by Ryan Michler,
Oh
the
yeah,
Order of Man guy,
Otter Man.
and yeah, and so I found Paul through that. I found Paul because he had just been on Brian. What was his old High Impact Flicks? It,
Wait, Paula and Slave was on Ryan Mickler's show?
no, Paul and
Oh,
Slade was on Brian from High Impact Flicks' show, and when I typed in sovereignty, um, that's what came up because he was live. Brian from High Impact Flicks was live, and I was like, oh, so they're talking about sovereignty. I'm interested in that, right? And so I went there and I started checking it out, and I saw Paul, and it was during the pandemic and stuff, and people were wearing masks, and just people were obeying every single thing that they were told, and I wasn't really having it. I wasn't about that life, and I saw like Paul was fired up about it, about being free, being a free man and stuff, and being better, doing better and stuff. Not being a stagnant person, being an actual man and not just a like grown child kind of thing, And that's the stuff he was preaching. And so I went over to his channel, and I don't know. One day I think I was just really pissed off with like the interactions that I had with the public and all the like fear and uncertainty everybody had, and like the way I was being treated like by my family and friends, that I hopped up on his panel, and then like I can't even go back and find it because that the my first episode that I was on there doesn't exist anymore
oh.
because he got like he had a lot of his videos were like removed, whether by him or by YouTube, it was removed. So I don't know. That's how I found my place in the panel versus it was by accident. And then once I found my spot, I became Paul's like, I wouldn't say right hand man. Like I used to say I was his right hand man, but it was more about I was just a guy who showed up every day because I was folding towels and I had no one to talk to, you know.
Well, so, what do you think has? Let me see. I want to ask this. With your new direction, what do you think that? How do you think that's going to change your relationship to the panelverse, if at all?
I think that something Paul was trying to teach me the whole time. It really was that like the more I wanted to come and hang out with him and just hang out and talk shit about people and like open their eyes about like how they're not living up to their full potential. Like I think that he was trying to tell me like, hey, this is my job. This is my purpose is to do this, right? But there's something else for you, and you need to go out there and do it. And so I think that's why he pushed me away so much. And I think that's
Oh,
like truly that's how I feel.
I didn't realize he had pushed you away.
Well, it originally started when I asked him to like go really hard on me and start, telling me like what my weaknesses are and where I'm falling short and where I'm not being a man and stuff. And then it like he would say comments and stuff. uh, like stuff that you know a lot of people draw lines at, and I draw lines too, and so like stuff about my wife would get to me, and like all that was like there's some truth to something that he said. It may not be true like the entire thing that he said, but there was some truth to the fact that I wasn't showing up in my own relationships in my house, and I wasn't keeping my house in order, but I was willing to go and spend 8 hours a day with him bullshitting and trying to tell other people how they weren't keeping their house in order. Does that make sense?
Like yeah, cause yeah, like he does.
Yeah. Like that's my point is I think honestly like once got a little butt hurt and then I started getting like angry at because I took it really hard at first. Um, and then basically we broke off, right? And then I went my own way and he kept doing his thing, and then I kept trying to come back to his channel and be part of his show, and every time I come back part of his show, it was kind of like a reminder like, hey, you really don't need to be here. You need to be focusing on yourself, and you need to come back and talk to me when you've reached that point in yourself where you're not looking for others to validate your journey, and you're happy with your journey, and you're happy with what's going on with yourself, you know.
I can't believe how dark it's getting over there.
Yeah, it's getting dark
You look like
quick.
a vampire. I'm asking these questions partly because I'm kind of going through the same thing. There's a shift. I felt a shift. I think I felt it on Thanksgiving.
Whoa,
Um,
that was the day my shift came.
really? I wonder if there's something to that.
Yeah, I spent before you go into your story because I don't want to interrupt your story. I spent maybe 5 hours sending out my resume to multiple people, and then writing emails and making offers and doing all that. Like I instead of sitting there and gorging my face and like calling all my family and doing all that stuff, like something inside me said there needs to be a change, and it happened on Thanksgiving. So I have to hear your story now.
Oh, well, it's not much of a story, and you're telling most of it. That's why I'm so interested in your answers. I don't know. I felt this for a while. I think Thanksgiving is when it all started to come together in my mind. Um, something's missing. Something's missing here. And I don't even know if it's a story. I think it's just
Let it out, man.
yeah, kind of a shift in awareness. I don't know how much I want to let out or how much I want to say or even how much I have to say. I know that I went to that I, being in job mode, like real life mode, is different than signing on YouTube every day and being in panel mode and interacting with strangers on the internet. Um, I went to that thing today. It was a totally different crowd of people. Um, I think YouTube and the panelverse is an environment that I got adjusted to that became my norm. And in many ways it is my norm, like it's my real life norm too. But if I'm going to be successful in real life, that's not the panelverse norm. And so I need to like readjust or recalibrate to real life norm by finding real life people. And even though the thing today was virtual, they were all people from here. So it was similar culture. It's the people I would meet if I walked up my front door. Um, they were definitely not panelverse people. And if I'm going to have a future outside of me trying to do things myself here in the panelverse, which is what I was trying to do for a long time, I'm gonna have to shift gears and orient to a different type of person, a different way of thinking, different goals, all of that.
I
Plus,
feel it,
I was
man.
kind of disappointed in. I don't know. I feel like my efforts here are not paying off. Not in a financial way, but in a results way. And I felt that what I was doing here was not being respected by a lot of people. And I think I
I
got
agree
tired
with
of it.
you. I agree with you, and I think that's where I lost interest in coming to the panels as much, is because I don't feel that the goal that we had set was being respected. I don't think people were coming here to find growth and like try to be better versions of themselves, or like even try to like accomplish something. I think it was mainly about like people just need someone to talk to and hang out with, and that's all right too, and that's okay. But like, if that's all we're gonna do, like it it can't be the majority of my life. Like, there has to be a balance. I have to be able to like have a real life as well, you know?
Yeah, the community wasn't happening, or it was happening on a very casual third space kind of level, but it wasn't happening on the personal growth level that I was trying to make it happen on.
Yeah, and I think like you can even see it because like I noticed that you and Joe went live at the same time, right? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's like if two people are trying to build something and you're trying to build something called the nexus, and each of us has like our own little niche in the nexus, you don't want to like step on each other's toes in the process, you know? Like, and I think that we all have our own goals here. And so like my goal may be like less money based, but it may be more like action and like goals oriented. And then yours might be monetary and action, and somebody else's might be monetary. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own place that they're coming here, and I think that if we were to have enough money to pay people for what they're doing, it would be different. It would be like we're a network,
Hmm.
right? It'd be different. You could expect them to show up. You could expect them to do their best. You can expect a little substance. But when we're not paying everybody, everybody's just showing up freely, and everybody else has their other their outside lives to deal with. This is not this is not a priority to people. You know, these conversations that we have. I enjoy these conversations. I like diving deeper. I like trying to bring things into the world.
Yeah, and the vision is still there. I need to. I have a. I need to take care of myself,
I
and
think that that's it.
the vision
That's
is
the big
still
thing.
there. But I need something in the meantime while it grows at its own pace.
That's the big thing. Is we've got to take care of ourselves along the way.
Yeah.
If you're not being fulfilled, then by being here every day, you're doing yourself a disservice. You know, if you're not fulfilling yourself.
I have a habit of doing this. This is common in my profession actually, because we're the people that know how to help everybody else, but don't necessarily look out for ourselves in the process. And that's what I need to do.
Yeah, I think you need to look out for yourself and take care of yourself monetarily. And I think you keep doing your thing. Like if you want to show up for an hour a night or you want to show up for an hour a week, the I guarantee you the people will still show up for you. You know, and they might even show up more for you because you're not showing up every day. You know what I mean? Oftentimes they take it for granted that we show
Hmm.
up every day.
That reminds me. Tomorrow I have if I show up at all, I may take tomorrow off. But if I show up at all, it's going to be probably an hour later at 5 p.m. Eastern, maybe 6 p.m. Eastern. If you don't see me tomorrow, that means I'm taking the day off. If you see me, it's going to be an hour later than I normally show up. I have something to do before this tomorrow.
Yep.
Elena,
I think
is it the seasonal affective thing, or is it the holidays?
eh, I'm gonna be on the move, so
Okay.
I'm gonna have to let you do your thing for a little bit.
Moose,
And
thanks a lot. This was good wisdom.
yeah, man, don't lose hope, don't lose faith, and just know that like it takes time to build an empire. It takes time.
Yeah, or even a community.
Yep, I'll be
Well,
back. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. All right.
okay, sounds good. Take care. Wow, I didn't know that. That's weird. Moose and I were kind of sensing the same thing or going through the same thing. A friend of mine, a mentor actually, told me a while back that if you have something on your mind and it's weird to you, say it anyway because chances are you're not the only one thinking it or noticing it or going through it. And I felt kind of isolated in my perceptions and my experience. I'm like, well, this is just what channel owners go through. It's not really community related. It's a me thing. It's not just a me thing. And I think it took hearing from Moose to make me realize that actually the other day I started a stream called I Got a Problem. And I showed up intending to talk about it. And I didn't realize it was the same time that Joe and I usually do our Nexus thing. And so I tabled it and I said, I'll just do it the next day. And then I ended up not doing it the next day. Um, but it's very rare that I have a problem of my own that I can bring to the community and like get community input on or trust. How do I want to say this? Usually I like to solve shit on my own. If I'm having a problem, I don't like to involve other people in it unless I absolutely have to. But this was one problem that I felt like I actually could use the community to help me solve because I had taken it as far as I could go on my own. And having those perspectives that come from other people would have been valuable. And then a lot of my life is just timing. And the timing of it wasn't there. I'm still not sure the timing's there. Um, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking now. It's not clear in my head yet. So I just know that there's definitely been a shift. And I need to figure out what to do with that. So I'm going to still keep trying to bring you this space. Um, I still think it's valuable. It's still what I'm called to do, and it's still part of my larger grand vision of helping create community for men, neurodivergent people. I see what we go through in society. I still think there's a need for that. I still think there's value in that. It feels good on a personal level because it feels like it's going to get my ass back out in the world again. I went on lockdown in March of 2020. I left the workforce, and I've been I've kind of been on COVID lockdown for 5 years. I've been living the lockdown lifestyle for 5 years. I've been doing everything on a computer. I've been interacting through a computer. All of my work has been on a computer. I have not been out there in the real world at all. I have no real world friends. I don't have real world activities that I do. I I think this is going to get me back out in the real world to establish some kind of foothold so that I have a balance between living on the internet all the time and living as part of the real life community around me, which I kind of wrote. Part of it was that I wrote off the real life community around me because I have so much experience with what to expect from it. But the thing I went to today, There was about 20 people at the class that showed up. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how big, how small it was going to be. So for a Zoom class, that's pretty big. That's a lot of people on a Zoom. And I tried to go in there with an open mind. Um, I said, you probably know what to expect from an event like this, but go in with an open mind. You're here to try to learn something. I pretty much knew what the people were going to be like. I knew what the social dynamic was going to be like, et cetera, et cetera. And we opened up with kind of a get to know, like a little icebreaker, get to know. No, well, kind of. And I noticed several things about myself. The first thing I noticed was that I wasn't rocking at all. And the reason I wasn't rocking was because I was very tense. And I was on the defense because I was convinced I was in a hostile environment. And so I was like this the whole time, just tense and not making a lot of movement, not wanting to draw a lot of attention to myself, wanting to keep like Joe, like keep a poker face. Because it was not an environment I could relax in. And then as we did this little icebreaker get to know you thing, it turns out that one of the people was actually from Louisiana. And one of the people leading the class made the comment of how much they like the accent from Louisiana. They thought it was such a beautiful accent. It was warm. They said it was warm and calming when they heard it. And my head spun. And most of the interaction was in chat. It wasn't a lot of verbal interaction. And so I typed in the chat, I said, that's weird. I said, they hate that here. Like for me, they hate the accent. And a couple of other people spoke up and said that they were from the South. And so that kind of made me relax a little bit. And it made me think of what the woke people say about being a black person, like the only black person at work, or the only trans person, or the only gay person in a room full of people with a completely different norm and culture from you. And I realized that I don't want to say that's what I've talked myself into or that's the state I've gotten myself into because I think there were external objective. I was reacting to actual real life objective things. But that was the attitude or the stance that I had toward the culture here and the society here. They don't like Southerners. My accent is a liability. The minute they hear me talk, they're going to be biased against me. These are all the things that supposedly the people that wokeness resonates with think and believe when they're a minority. The minority culture in a dominant majority that's different from you. And I've known for a long time that I was a minority here. And I knew that was one of the things that kept me from having a social life. That was one of the things that kept me participating in my local community. That was one of the things that kept me out of the workforce. But today I had like a concrete, I could actually see the experience happen and I could analyze it live while it was happening, and I could get contrasting feedback from some of the people here that was different than what I normally get from the dominant culture. And it really kind of made all the difference. And again, I keep going back. Like I made some notes during my class about wokeness, and this is similar to what the woke say and the woke go through. I don't like the word safe space or safety or anything like that, but having other people say things like oh, we actually like the accent, or oh, what people have told you for 15 years is a liability and treated you negatively because, for some of us, is actually not. Or we actually welcome that. Just having those two or three people, or having people say, you know what, I'm from the South too. It's okay to be from the South. I don't always think I need stuff like that because I'm so like self-sufficient and autonomous and all that. But man, did it turn that class around for me. The defensiveness started to dissipate. I started to feel like I had to be less on guard. I could relax more and participate. Um, I felt like I could be more myself. I didn't have to keep up this. I'm going to use the word stoic, Joe. This stoic persona where the social camouflage. We've talked about the social camouflage on here before. I was in camouflage mode, not even consciously. Like that is once the class started, that is the mode that my body, my nervous system naturally went into. Because I was convinced I was in an environment where I was an extreme minority and nothing that I tried to say or contribute was going to have the effect that I intended it to have. And then when people started to make comments about the South and the accent and having all that be okay, and one of the people leading the class was ADHD. So I'm like, okay, they understand neurodivergence. There's some Southerners here. They understand Southerners. So all of that social camouflage could kind of relax. And I could kind of start to see that all of the things that I've been convinced work against me up here. And this is nothing I haven't said before. Today was just a real life example of seeing it in action. I've always said that finding the environments where that doesn't work against you, where it's not seen as a liability, or those things can actually be strengths. I just was not optimistic about finding that up here. I didn't think there were environments up here where people thought being from the South was a cool thing, or people thought being openly neurodivergent was okay. And so having other people similar to myself, I guess, is all it took. So in this class of about 20 people, having two or three people be from the South, having one or two people being neurodivergent made all the difference. And that was all. They didn't have to talk. We didn't have to have a big conversation or dialogue about it. Just knowing that they were in the class and we shared this common part of our identity was enough. And so I guess in a way it gave me a little bit more hope about, because another thing I realized, like, yes, I am trying to do something positive here. I am investing in a vision that I have that I consider a valuable vision, a good vision. So I am putting a lot of my energy into trying to grow something online that I think not only myself but other people can benefit from. So those are all of the positive motivations for doing what I do. But I also realized that there was kind of some avoidant reasons for being here too. I was avoiding having to put myself through the experience locally that I've put myself through for the last 15 years in Seattle. I was avoiding having to face these negative social environments over and over and over and over. It was keeping me from progressing in any kind of real life community where I am. So as much as it was a strength and a it was laying the foundation for something that I still plan to continue. It was also allowing me to avoid situations here in real life that I could actually benefit from, that actually will help me contribute even better to what I'm doing here.
Hey, Jeff.
Ooh, you're coming in muffled. I'm catching up on comments.
I wonder why.
Ooh, you're like real robot-y.
Maybe it's because I'm playing Call of Duty. Uh,
Oh, while you're
or my mic in all the way. Is that better? Wait, sit
try
down. I'm
again.
trying. Let me. Yeah, is that better? I tried to push my mic in more. Does
Yeah,
that
yeah,
help?
a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that it's if it's not like completely all the way in, this one's a lot more sensitive about it than my previous mic.
And it's less about them making a joke about the accent and them actually telling me things like "Go back to the swamp where you came from."
That is very mean. That
Oh,
is like
I have had first the ex told me that he said I should have left you in the swamps where I found you. I'm like, what were you doing in the swamp? Like, why did you have to go to the swamps to find a boyfriend? I had one person I was on a date with call me swamp rat, which is an insult where I come from for Cajun people. It was a Cajun slur in the historical record. I had coworkers tell me to go back to the swamps,
oh,
or why did I leave the swamps? So comments like that.
that's the kind of thing where I'm pretty sure a lot of the people saying that if you contextualize it for like black or brown people, they would lose their fucking mind.
Well, I already know being a Cajun that like I know the historical prejudice we faced because it's in all the historical books that I have, and I know from my grandparents' generation the stories they tell of when the Anglo Saxons came to Louisiana, les Américains they call them, and
Hmm.
tried to force assimilate them. So I do, and I know the stories of World War II when we started showing up in the different troops and platoons, and the rest of America started to
Remember, there's a
react because we were
character in
so
Band
weird.
of Brothers who's Cajun and he can speak French, and they use him to talk to like this French nurse in Bastogne. Um, and I think all of his conversations with her are in French. I don't remember.
Yeah, once they realized that we had like our interpretive skills could be a benefit, then they started using us in World War II in a positive way. But initially, when we showed up in at basic training during the draft,
Right.
everybody's freaked out about us. They had no idea what we were, or where we came from. They had never we were not like ordinary Americans.
Yeah,
And
and
so that kind of stuff, I'm aware of a history of cultural prejudice against us. So when I come up here and they say shit like that, when they call me swamp rat, when they tell me to go back to the swamps, I know it's not personal. I know it's one culture encountering my culture for the first time and reacting in very ugly negative ways, like cultures do.
but I think what's interesting is I suspect a lot of the people who have said things like that. Obviously, I can't assume every time you had a bad interaction with someone it was a woke person, but I imagine that includes woke people, and it's exactly the kind of remark they train woke people like to train you not to say in the diversity trainings, but they think
Yeah,
it's okay. Kids are
I told you before. Every single woke person I've talked to, that I've tried to get their perspective on Cajun history and Cajun culture, because we were one of the most oppressed minorities in history. We were ethnically cleansed. Then when we were in Louisiana, the white people came there and oppressed us some more. None of them. It's crickets. It's silence. None of them have anything to say. And I was told I was white passing, that even if all of that's true, I'm still considered an oppressor in today's world because I'm white passing. And none of that gets me points or relieves me from the culpability in modern day white supremacy. So I already knew the wokeness is fucked up based on how they treat my own people and the history of the Cajuns. It doesn't fit into their narrative, and they can't make it make sense in their woke paradigm.
real shame. Yeah, I heard some of what you said a few minutes before I came on about um being tense in the room and then slowly realizing that not everyone in the room is crazy and then you could relax a bit. I've had experiences like that. Um, where I go into something wondering like, who's going to be here? Are these going to be like dogpile people? Are they just going to be, is going to be some of that? Um, and then the relief when learning, a good number of them at least aren't like that.
Um, Yeah, well, where I am, it's such a monoculture. It really is a conformist culture, and it's rare that there are people that are not like that. So usually, it's like what I experienced today is not the norm.
Yeah, I might have an easier time finding groups like that. I made it a little harder for myself just because I moved into the Triangle area, and that's gotten pretty woke. So
Does the reverse happen where you expect for it like with the I'm thinking of the gaming, the board gaming, where you've
mhm.
got pronoun police, where you think it's not going to happen, so you go in there expecting to be relaxed and have a good time, and then it shows up, and then you tense
I,
up.
I I go into those things with sort of a baseline expectation that there are people like that who will likely be there and could easily make us think of things. So I was not too surprised when the librarian like confronted me about that in that one case. Um, the reason why I didn't change the way I talk is because that's how I talk, right? I'm not thinking about how pronouns work because the whole point of pronouns is you don't think hard about them.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're third party anyway.
yeah, I mean, the person's in the room, but like, it's not how I talk. So, telling me here, change the way grammar works in your brain that you've been speaking for 30 years because one person asked you to do it. That's not realistic. Um, so, um,
I guess it's societal expectation. So you never really know if it's a new group, but you base your expectations from whatever
yeah.
model you built up in your brain from past
Well,
similar
yeah, if
interactions.
it's a place like Durham or Chapel Hill, I have my expectations adjusted accordingly. I know that stuff like that becomes much more likely. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take it easy today. I'm not gonna rush to write another article.
How many have you
Even though,
written?
well, it's a new month, so but I did get one published today. That I wrote yesterday, but I have to
We
make myself take breaks.
oh, otherwise you'll what write more
I'm
articles.
somebody who I was basically a workaholic for a long time,
Oh,
and now I have a certain level of consistency and stability, and I work for myself. Part of my being a workaholic is like you're afraid if you'll disappoint, you'll get dropped. But there is nobody to drop me now. I can go at my own pace, and I also realized that being a workaholic in the past really didn't do me many favors, and so I might as well just enjoy my life more and not always be in a state of delayed gratification, especially if it's gratification that never comes. In that case, it's not even delayed; it's just no gratification.
yeah. Hey, Untrackable. What's up?
Hey, happy Monday. Thanks for having me up. Good to see everybody.
Happy Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I like your hat. Very very seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
It, it's an old work hat, but it's an extreme cold weather toboggan, if you will.
Yeah, it's freezing here too. it's Today's I think the coldest day so far, and I still have to go out.
Yep. It
Well,
was
Zent's, yeah, luckily you're you're in the majority, you're in the norm, because I think that's about the only way there is to express subjective things. It's through literary devices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a question, I forgot it. Oh well, it'll have to come back. Were we talking
Oh,
about
we're talking about.
workaholic, woke? Oh, this about
Yeah,
apologizing. Yeah, Joe and I talked about this the
never
other
ever
day.
apologize. Don't ever do it.
I do it if I
You do it because sometimes you've got to be gentle, Jeff.
well, I do it when it's from the heart, and I feel like I have a legitimate reason to do it. Like the other
Well,
day, I felt
don't
really
feel it
bad
from the
about
heart.
going hard on Leggy, and I apologized to him because I genuinely felt that I had handled that in a way that I was not happy with, that it was not called for, and I felt like it called for an apology. But that was completely organic. It emerged from how that situation played out. Yeah, believe it or not, I really hate hurting other people. It's one of the worst feelings in the world when I inadvertently and unintentionally cause pain to someone else, and I wasn't trying to or didn't mean to. I hate that
So,
feeling. It
so
rarely
where,
happens, but when it does, I, I tend to apologize.
so whereas people on the Panelverse love to do that, they, that they would. I'm sure they'd be thrilled if some of their targets, if they made some of their targets cry. Um, that's not you.
Now,
So
sometimes
yeah,
I don't care. Like, in fact, I don't know. I guess it's situational.
well, if it's more of a them problem than a you thing, and they're going to cry because they're
Yeah,
being a little brat.
Mike, not today. Take a week off, and we're gonna talk and work something out. I had
It,
explained
it,
this last time.
it makes sense when it comes to making apologies. Like you said, Jeff, if it's organic, like uh, you did say what you said um, with intent, but you really didn't mean to make somebody feel a certain type of way. Whereas if somebody says, "Oh my God, you hurt my feelings," and it's like, "Oh, okay, well, if it makes you feel better, I apologize." Or when if you are a child, or if you have a child, and you have to grab them by the hand and be like, "You apologize to this person right now." It's like that's not organic. It means nothing to the apologizer or the apologizee. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
words.
and that's I think what is the dominant form of apology these days. It's that's how people learn apologies. So they only do it to put a fire out, but they don't actually care or learn anything that'll transform them or improve the situation, or lead to like long-term resolution. They're
I
just
mean, I
trying to
don't
get.
even know if that happened in my case. It'll probably happen again, but I know in that moment it. And
I
usually when I apologize, it's not because anyone's asking me for an apology. It's because I notice on my own that it had an effect that I did not intend it to have, and so I am intrinsically motivated to apologize once I observe that.
remember one thing the chairman of the Person County Democratic Party told me when I was a candidate for the state house. He said, "Never apologize." Now I already thought that, but I definitely agreed with him.
No, I have no like if I roll over your foot with my car, I'm gonna apologize. I'm not gonna say I'm sorry. I don't apologize. Just
If I
You
suffer
know
if
it.
I
what?
if I ran over someone's foot with my car, I would not apologize. I would promptly make sure that everything to pay for their medical bills, even if I
You
took a
would
big
not get
hit.
out of your car and say, "I am so sorry. I did not mean.
No,
I didn't
I would
realize you
not
would.
say
I
I'm
did not
sorry
mean to do that."
because I think it's going to mean nothing coming from me. I don't believe. I certainly don't get anything from it. And to me, it's like their foot just got run over. I need to make sure they get help. So call an
Well,
ambulance.
it's a way of acknowledging that it happened and that you were responsible and that
I think
you
taking
feel remorse over
responsibility
it.
with my actions is how I show that feeling.
Well, yeah, I would show it my actions too, but that's part of showing with my actions is my speech.
And that's true too. Is that like you mentioned an earnest apology? It's more of an outward facing inward apology. Like you apologize because you recognize something that you did, and you're gonna vocalize it or something like that.
Yeah, it's an
Whereas
expression of remorse or regret.
because you can't even force, even when you do apologize, you can't force the other person to accept your apology.
Yeah,
they
that
they they will just, if they decline your apology, they're going to take the offense, and they're going to use your acceptance of what happened, they're just going to use it against you. So, whether it's politics or the panelverse, they will capitalize on you accepting
Yeah,
or
and that's a
acknowledging.
reason. That's one reason why I don't think apologizing is a good idea, because there's always potential for someone to do that and to just drag a situation out. Um, and so the
But that's
social.
independent of the apology itself and your reasons for apologizing.
I don't see it as it is. I think it's happening because it's part of how apology culture works. I think apology culture is just pretty fucked.
Well, I don't know if what I'm talking about is apology culture. I'm talking about if I hurt someone and I feel remorse or regret, that is my way of vocalizing that. And that is independent of apology culture. It's independent of whether they accept it. It's independent of whether they use it against me or not. Um, and I'm not going to stop doing that. Hey, Vinny, what's up? If I hurt someone and I didn't mean to hurt someone and I can see that my actions hurt them in a way that I did not intend, I'm going to express that.
Wait, Tibalis asked, "Am I never wrong?" What did you ask that because I said I would not vocalize an apology? I don't see how that has anything to do with being wrong. That's just choosing not to vocalize an
I mean, I don't know
apology.
what apology culture even is. I don't do it because I'm part of a certain culture.
I see apologies as a cultural thing. That's just my own take on it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's context dependent because I imagine in many contexts it can be. It's this performative social ritual. But in the sense I was using it, that's not what I was talking about. I was using it as an expression of my authentic self at that moment.
I mean, I believe that. I don't think you're fake. I'm not saying that there's nothing real about your apologies, Jeff. Um, but I do think they exist in this broader vat of apology culture.
I think some can, but I think
Well, I'm telling you,
I think
T-Ballis,
a
that it's not an
discerning
ego
person
thing.
should
It's
would be able to tell if somebody's doing it because they're part of this apology culture, or if they're doing it as an expression of genuine remorse. And if they can't, and I'm being mistaken for being part of culture that I'm not, well, it's not the first time that would have happened. But that's their ignorance. That's not. It doesn't change the reality of it on my end.
like T-Ballis. I just laid out why I think apologies don't work. So if you're saying, well, it's an ego thing, just pay attention to what I said.
And then you can also, like you say about the culture of apologizing. Um, you, I think people can get put in this boot loop of apologia, where it's like, they said what they said, and then they apologized, and then somebody turns it on them, and then they apologize for apologizing, and then where does it end?
Yes, we've seen things like that happen in like certain public controversies throughout our lives. Like that is definitely a thing, and we probably maybe not probably, but I'm sure some of us um know people who have gone through something like that, and it's just they can never live some kind of mistake down. It just seems to haunt them, and so Vinny says, Joe, I apologize for you being in your fifis. For me being in my fifis? Can I really be anything besides my fifis? What else could I be in?
Now up here they apologize for everything, even things that are not their fault. That's not the kind of apology. That maybe that's apology culture.
I think that's part of it. Yeah, there'll people will be like, yeah, I'm sorry the
Oh,
weather's
I'm
so bad.
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Every little thing. Mostly women. Mostly high, like agreeableness. And
The,
if they get any negative reaction from anybody whatsoever, they apologize to make the reaction go away.
I think a lot of that idea, it connects to like what Joe was saying about the wokeness, is that you have people that probably have never done anything against a certain class or a certain race or a certain religion that are that They're going to stand back. Hey, I'm sorry for your pain. And it's like, well, who the hell are you? Because if I'm seeking, even if I'm seeking an apology from somebody or an acknowledgement for something like that, the last thing I want is just some random, just hurt person that just wants to go around apologizing all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of cringe up here when I
I
see
think
that.
fussilating is just fussing, Jeff.
Oh, that's my new word today. Fussilating. Not lies, you're fussilating today.
So, Jeff, is it becoming an increasingly common thing that when you're like socially restraining yourself, that you're finding your inner Joe? Is that where your mind goes more now?
Well, when I was on the phone with that lady the other day, I was intentionally trying to call up my inner Joe and tap into him.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought that was a
today, when
joke.
I was like in
When you
my
wrote that, I
defensive
literally thought it was a
posture,
joke.
huh?
So when you wrote that message explaining that, I literally just thought you were
No,
joking.
I
I didn't know
really
that
was.
was
I
for
was
real.
like on the phone. I was worked up. I was pissed off about what that lady had told me earlier today. I was ready to fight. And when she answered the phone, I knew I had to keep. I didn't want to punish her for what this other lady did. I wanted to give her a fair chance, but I was still angry. And so I'm like, you've got to get this. You've got to get. You can't let your anger at what happened today bleed over into this lady's conversation. Think of Joe. What would just be like Joe? Just try to be
Ah, yes.
like emotionally grounded. Don't let, even if you're feeling it, don't let her pick up on it because it's not directed at her. So I don't want her to suffer for an emotion that should be directed at some other person.
I'm
And
spinning
you
powerful
were the
webs.
the closest thing I could think of in the moment to like draw on of having that like masking that emotion. That was one of the situations where I really did have it called for masking because she was not an appropriate target of that emotion. And I'm rarely in those situations.
Hmm.
But today, when I was doing my social camouflage, I didn't necessarily associate it with you at all until I started talking about it just a while on the stream a while back. But while I was in the class, I didn't think of you at all when I was doing it. I didn't think like, oh, this is what Joe would be doing.
Okay, well, it's only associated with me
If
if it
I,
goes
if I
well.
intentionally have to if I'm like, this is aggression that I should mask because the person in front of me is not who the aggression should be directed at. And I don't want them to have to experience an aggression that they did not earn from me. How do I mask it? You came to mind.
Oh, I got shot. Yeah, Jeff, I was streaming my Call of Duty before,
Yeah, are you still
and
streaming?
I'm playing it. I could stream it. I could
Oh,
put it in here.
here, let me drop Joe's channel. By the way, are we still doing our thing Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, not Laz. I don't think we'll have any problem getting Fussilate to take off here.
I like how Vinny did Inner Joe with the monocle. I guess he's likening me to the Monopoly man because I do the investing. Plus, he was in the Monopoly game with us.
Yeah, he was. He legitimately lost.
Mhm.
Yeah, he legitimately lost to Spike.
Who did not legitimately win.
Wait, what is that? How am I stuck? Oh,
Actually, I
there was a.
guess, is it an inner Joe because it was more of an outward mask? Joe is my mat. I don't have a lot of models. I don't
Oh,
come from
see
a
now
masking culture.
you
So if I'm
stumbled
going to
on.
mask, I need models that come from somewhere other than my past. And so he's a good present day example of what a mask looks like. I think that's why I draw on him. Just poker face.
You stumbled onto how the act of wearing the mask changes the person and the
It
line
didn't.
between the mask.
Actually, it didn't because I was still worked. I still spurred out on her a little bit. But at least it wasn't toward her. It was about the issue, but not directed at her.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've done something like that before. Maybe not as well. Is I was expecting some money to come to me, and I was given a phone number to call, and so I called the number, and all the words that were exchanged were good and professional, and it sounded like it was going to get handled.
Oh, what Selu pointed out, there's no monocle in Monopoly. And you know what? You're right, what Selu, and I'm sorry.
That's the Mandela effect. Go ahead, Untrackable.
Yeah, and then the money didn't come. So I call the number, I get another person, and everything goes just like it went before. And okay, hang up the phone. Time goes by, no money. So then I called back again, and I started getting the same words. And I was like, hey, this is what I've been going through. These are the people that I have talked to, and I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting. In fact, I've got nothing. And, this was like a 4 or 5 month process
Oh my
to get,
God. I would have been pissed the
yes.
first day.
And so the last phone call that I had made, I was getting the same words in the same tones and all that. And I literally, lost my shit on that person. I didn't call them names or anything like that. It was y'all are supposed to be doing this. I've been given this run around, yada yada yada. And then I was in my car at the time when I had that last conversation, and I took my fist to the steering wheel of my car, like I was honking my horn with punches. And uh, I think they got the point that, hey, somebody finally realized that who I was talking to was the wrong department, and it wasn't their fault. It was the number in which I was to call and handle this. It was the wrong number the entire time, but it was given to me by my supervisors, and so somebody wound up getting my aggression when it really wasn't about them. It was about the money, but they gave me the wrong damn number. You know what I mean?
Part of that, like in a customer service role, that's part of their pay, is to bear the brunt of angry customers. And I used to do that work, and those are some of my favorite ones, where the angry and the pissed off customer, everybody would give them to me because I was so good at turning them around.
Would you say I'm sorry to them, Jeff?
Huh?
Would
Depends
you
on the
say I'm sorry to?
situation. I don't fake apologize. Like if it's something we didn't do that wasn't our fault, I don't I don't like I might say, well, I'm sorry you had a bad experience or something like that. But I don't apologize for something if we're not culpable for it. I don't make them think that it's something the company did. Like if they didn't send in their payment on time, I don't apologize for something they did. I don't say like, "Oh, I'm sorry you got that late fee," when it's because they didn't send their payment in on time. That's what a late fee is.
Yeah. I'm sorry that the terms of the contract, activated. When I
Yeah,
worked
it's a
at the law firm, I talked to thousands of angry clients, and I mean like angry, like many beside themselves with anger, like they almost become like a mental patient victim for
Yeah,
like
that's
five
why I was
minutes.
so good in my mental health work because
And I
probably
never
angry
once
customers.
apologized to any of them, even for things that were the company's fault. I always just I took ownership of the situation and said I would make it right, but I never said, "Oh, I apologize" or "I'm sorry." I said, "You're right. We made a mistake, and we're going to fix it right now." And
I'm
that
really good with
always
angry people.
always resolved the situation with the people who want it to be resolved. There are some people who just want to be angry all the time. You can't make them happy. But
Yeah, as those of us that
and saying I'm
hang out
sorry
in the
to them
panelverse know
gives
very
them
well.
fuel. They thrive off of your sense of guilt.
By the way, welcome OTW viewers that just showed up. We're talking about anger and apologizing and social expectations and all kind of other stuff. And it's open panel if you want to hop on and give your 2 cents or your opinion.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I grew up in like growing up in a culture where nobody held back their emotions meant that nobody held back their anger either. So I'm used to I would learn how to deal with anger very
That's why
early.
um, Jeff is such a potent
Everybody
spurred.
throws fits.
Come on. Ah.
Yep.
Now I do, I did, I do. I don't know if I do anymore, but I did do the thing like I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way. Well, I'm gonna do this, and I'll never shop there again. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I do that kind. I did do that kind of thing.
That sounds even worse than not apologetic.
It's dismissive of their emo, but I'm like, I got other customers to get to.
It sounds like a nice way of saying "fuck you."
Oh, B, that's next week. I'm getting another box next Monday. I have that in-person thing. Thank you so much, Beak. That's you are. He's already. My fry fund is already. He's like 4 or 5 fries up, loaded up. Thank you. I'll use it for good. Good fries.
You gotta enjoy it while you can before Bobby takes it away. He's gonna
He's not
put us
taking
in our
my
place.
fries. I voted for the man. Trump's appearance on the fry station was one of the reasons that won my vote. So they can't come and snatch the fries after that. Trump is my fry advocate.
Yeah, you're gonna hear Bobby do a very emotional speech about the dangers of what they put in the French fries.
Besides, wasn't he on that plane eating the McDonald's food with them?
He was holding it in his hand and he looked very uncomfortable doing so, but I don't know if he actually ate it. He might have just done the photo.
Well,
Like, oh, let's just get this over.
that photo counts for a lot if he tries to take all that away.
See, Trump's the good cop and Bobby Kennedy's the bad cop. Trump's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I love McDonald's donuts, it's great," and then Bobby would be like,
Good
"We've
luck
gotta take
trying
away
to
the
separate Americans
McDonald's."
from their fatty foods and their sugar. It's not going to work.
They'll do it for Trump.
Nope. There will be Trump's not even going to tolerate it.
I always said, why are we putting this in our food?
Fries for me, but not for thee.
I would say there's nothing wrong with fast food. Just stop making it more expensive to where it calculates to being the same as good food. You know, people have choices. And if I want to pay $5 at McDonald's and get a full meal versus go buy $100 worth of groceries and make something that isn't going to be fully consumed, who's wasting more? Who's doing what with what? And it's like you can talk about health all you want. People could eat McDonald's every single day of the year. It's not a death wish. It's sometimes it's just a more economical way of living.
Oh, Jeff, did you see that Brian Williams, Seth Meyers video?
I haven't watched it yet. Is that something you posted?
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, Brian Williams, the former NBC nightly news anchor.
I'm not used to this new moves. Are you back at your house, or is that where are you?
You interrupted the flow of conversation, sir.
That happens all the time here. It's just
Yes,
Joe.
I'm back.
He has no
Back at the
problem
house.
getting his flow back.
Mm-hmm. He knows he can't offend the stoic by interrupting him.
I feel so naked. I feel like a baby.
So naked?
So
Yeah,
naked.
you look
Next to
very different. I'm
unsackable.
not used to this moose, the professional moose. You're masking the wild man.
I swear, I still can't forget that time I was trying out a beard. And someone said, "Yeah, you should keep the beard," but as long as you don't grow it out and get like an Appalachian beard. And I just thought, man, that would have been an unkind thing to say in front of Untrackable. Which honestly, I think you have a cool looking beard. Um,
Do you get to choose what type of beard you grow? Like,
your beard, you find out how your beard is when it grows, right?
right? That's what I thought
Yeah,
too.
you
Like I have
find
a red
out when it
beard,
comes
so
in.
I think having a red beard's kind of cool in a way. But I didn't know that until it grew out.
I
I
got
have
a
a trailer
Jewish
park
looking
beard.
beard. I put
Ooh,
one of those. I had like a fedora. Like here, I'll show you my hat. I gotta find it, but I got this
Is it the
hat.
one
I
on
put
your
it on.
moose?
Oh, it's like a fedora, but it's got these little ear things on it. And like I put it on, and with my fucking beard, I look like a Jewish dude. Here you go. You know,
Come
you know what
on.
I'm saying? Little ear
You look
warmers. You know
like
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Little dorky, huh? Yeah,
okay, that looks a little. I don't
I
know.
like it though. I like it. Keeps the ears warm. You know what I'm saying?
Looks weird. I don't want to. I don't want to use the G word.
Looks a little
But
gay.
without it, you look like
Looks a
David
little
Bowie in The
gay.
Hunger.
Oh, I
no, Jeff. Now
appreciate
that Trump won, we get to say gay and retarded again. That's back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could always say that here. I use it all the time.
it. Well, I mean, you
Hey,
resemble
Waffle.
gay and retarded sometimes, just like me. So.
Oh, Scoot McNair. Yeah, he from True Detective.
Oh,
Little
I got a
bit.
UAV.
He's a little more polished up.
All right, so I interrupted the flow of conversation. Where are we
There
taking
ain't no
this?
flow.
Ain't no flow
The
with
flow is
Joe.
whoever can take the mic when they want to change it up. We're very
You think
fluid about the
speaking?
flow here.
So does that mean that Flo can take Mike? I
Stop
don't know.
fussulating. No, Flo, Flo and neither one are here. They're on timeout.
Or
Wait,
so
They
you
hold
think
on.
can't
Mike could
seem
kick
to
Flo's
stop
ass?
trolling each other, and I don't want that crap on my channel. So if they can't come
Wait,
and respect my channel, they need to take it somewhere else.
I don't understand. Catch me up. What happened between Flo and Mike?
Oh, Thanksgiving Day, they were trolling each other after I asked him several times not to.
Is Flo Italian too?
Compulsive trolling. I don't know what he is.
Sometimes it's that like
Does
Italian
anybody know?
bravado.
He just
I
seems
wouldn't
like
know.
normal American white trash, whatever that
Flo,
is.
yeah, that's what
Anglo.
I was gonna say. Flow State is like the typical American. Like he's built like a linebacker kind of dude, but he's like frat boy, with the
Yeah, like
earring.
whatever that heritage is.
Paul said it great. With the little earring.
What did
Yeah,
you say?
I don't know. Flow State plays a clip of what Paul would say about Flow State, and he always brings up the little fucking earring. I just think it's funny.
Oh.
I think it's fun. I think when he characterizes people, I find it very funny and amusing, entertaining. That's the right word.
He can definitely be entertaining. They all can in their own way.
Yes, and I visit many different places. Um, I will say though that when I'm here, and I'm not there. So
I didn't mean my little joke to like turn into a whole conversation about Flo and Mike. I was just making a passing like punchline or something.
It's just
It
it's
doesn't
just
have to take on a life of its own.
coincidental that those are the two. Those are the latest.
You talk about them, and it's
Oh,
just like it's
yeah,
taking a
those are
shot,
the
and you know
latest
it's gonna trip
offenders. Those are
in.
the two sitting in the doghouse together. Yes, he's been called frat boy douche, but many times before. Um, and some by my own viewers. They
I feel like
wonder why I have that frat boy douche on the show all the time.
I feel like though Flo tries to put on that persona for his channel branding.
That's a good. You've asked that question before. Where does the mask end and the authentic
Yeah.
person begin? Flo is a excellent one to ask that question of
Or
because I
if
can't
that's
always
him,
tell.
then when he was a loan officer, he was hiding it as a loan officer. Because I can't imagine he went in as a loan officer, looking at like, let's look at what your annual income is, before we approve this, and that he was in frat boy douche mode. So one or
I
the
don't
other,
know
he
though.
was.
I could see him that like we don't know how long he lasted as a loan officer.
Maybe he was the frat boy douche, and it worked because at that lending company they were investing in black owned businesses. So you had to be like that in order to get past it.
I don't have a problem with Flo, but he can't come and disrespect my channel.
I think that goes for all of us. And you know
But
what?
I don't have a beef with him personally.
If he brings entertainment at a time that entertainment is needed, praise God. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. And if he brings disruption at a time when it's not requested, God save his soul.
There you go. There you go. See, you're learning. You're becoming a good Christian, Jeff.
Yeah. Though, how do you feel about the people who try to disrupt your channel, not because they hate you, but because they like you and they like messing with you?
Like you?
Like not laws?
Not like me. We're not talking about me. We're talking about other people.
Like not laws?
Oh, well,
I
you were the
love not
first
laws.
example that came to mind.
No, that wasn't me. That was someone else.
Oh.
If it was disruptive, it wasn't me. I wasn't there. It was some other guy who looked just like me.
Well, it definitely wasn't
I-
the gay version of you, Jeff.
I have very few rules here. This is not a very rulesy place. And so if you can't respect the few little rules that I ask, then you get the same consequences I give to everybody else. I don't play favorites.
We need more rules because then more women will come here.
Because
That's
women like
not
rules because
true.
it makes them feel safe.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna call you out
Predictable.
right now on that, Jeff. I'm gonna call you out. I have to. I gotta stand my ground on this because we know damn well that I'm the sole survivor of the panelverse. Like, I am the last remaining survivor of your original broadcast, and henceforth I've been grandfathered in to my position. You've let me troll you. You've let me troll other people, but you've also told me when to rein it in. So, and
Well,
I
I
do.
was about to say I've confronted you about some things before.
Look, all you got to do is admit that I'm your favorite, and then we'll move along. That's all it is.
I
See,
don't
I
have
gotcha.
favorites. I have
Gotcha.
people.
I got you on that one. You had to pause.
Well, I'm pausing because I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a delicate way. I
You know
don't
my
have
favorite.
favorites.
I don't have favorites, and Moose.
But
even
you
if I
definitely,
did have
you
a
definitely,
favorite,
there are people that have contributed, invested time and effort more than others that kind of form part of this inner core. And I definitely associate you with that, if you want to call that favorites.
God, I love you. You know that was beautiful. You expressed
This from
yourself
here.
so articulate, and you also didn't pick sides, and you didn't like alienate people. That right there is a sign of a good leader.
Wow, that's.
I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand
Jeff
with
for
you,
president.
I
Jeff
didn't
I don't know about
alienate people.
28.
Wow.
I think Jeff would be a good Secretary of State, but I would make a better president.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think you would too. Moose is an
I'm a
excellent leader.
I'm a better
I learned that from
bullshitter.
playing video games with him.
I'm a good bullshitter, and Jeff is definitely like he. I think he would keep the state secure.
Oh my God, I am not a diplomat. I am the last person you want to send into any kind of diplomatic negotiations or any kind of formal event, formal
Well,
affair.
that's the point because we've been sending the people that are experts and the qualified people to go and do this diplomatic bullshit, and look where we are. We're almost on the
Well,
verge of
Trump or
World War
Elon, if y'all are
III or
watching,
IV.
listen to Moose. He's a good, like I say, he's a good leader.
The best
Elon only
leaders are the
watches
ones-
when we do our Nexus streams. He's not watching right now.
He only watches when we talk about fries.
French fries, and they got to be from McDonald's.
Yes.
I tell you what. I'm going to be honest right now, guys. I saw Dunkin' Donuts was hiring a general manager for a really nice pay, and I even thought about it. I was like, dude, I could go be a fucking Dunkin' Donuts guru and make a bunch of money and like look at myself like a clown.
Have you do you have fast food experience?
I worked at Starbucks for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good
That's
enough.
fast food.
They're basically
I
the
mean,
same now. Starbucks has donuts and Dunkin' has coffee.
yeah, and like I've popped into the deli or whatever at the grocery store, and I've made all the food, made pizzas, made burgers, fucking fired up some like awesome specials. You know what I'm saying? Like I know how to do it.
Yeah, I think you'd make a good manager. It would be I think it would be a very high quality Dunkin'
That shit
with
would be
somebody like
fucking.
you running it. I think it
That
would
shit.
show.
Oh yeah, man. You'd see every single employee would be fucking blitzed with excitement, Jeff. With excitement.
Uh huh.
Nah, corporate beta male life is not for me.
Yep.
Yeah, me neither.
Untrackable is like questioning why I said that. Well, see, untrackable. You got to understand that when you enter into the corporate environment, you have to make concessions, and when you
Hmm.
make concessions to your values, that right there means that you are not the man that you should be, because you should never have to make concessions to your values.
Well, do you feel like you might be at risk of that with this new job?
Not at all. You know why? Because the less that you are in something, the better. I can literally go in, make, my 25, $30 an hour, and then go home. Not have to worry. And what am I going to do at a hotel that's going to like be against my morals or values? I'm not going to be like pimping hoes out of the room. Yeah, I mean, it's not a casino. I'm not watching people get all degenerately like drunk and fucking do cocaine off the fucking toilets and shit. Like,
Ooh, that's nasty.
oh yeah, plenty of times I've walked into the bathroom at like fucking
The back of
the
the toilet, I
casino.
hope. The tank.
Oh yeah, well yeah, dude.
Okay.
Oh my god. If I ever walked in on somebody snorting a line off of the fucking toilet brim, like holy shit.
I, I can say that I was taught a lesson a long time ago, and that is it doesn't matter what you do. If you're not doing it for you, then you work for them. And if you're working for them, everything you do will be bending the knee.
Well, that's what they
But
want.
when you work for you, yes, you may work at their place following their rules. But if I work for myself, I will never violate my morals. You understand?
Amen. You won't bend the knee. Then that's what makes you a man, dude. That's what I look up to. That's what I consider a man. Someone who won't bend the knee and will stick to what they're true to.
I'm not saying I won't do this stuff, but there's a reason behind doing this stuff. And it's not just, oh, I need this job. I really want to be part of this. No, I'm doing it because I have goals in my life and nobody needs to know about them. But I'm here now, so I have to make this work. It's a battle, and I'm going to win every single time, just knowing that I'm doing it for me and mine.
Well, I tell you who I work for, and I tell them when I start the job, I work for the client. I don't even work for me. I'm not going to do anything against the client. And if there's a conflict between what they think I should be doing and what's best for the client, they know where my loyalties lie. Hey, Bex.
Mind abuse is an action have consequences.
Uh-oh. What's that? Oh, are you job searching too? We should do a job club. I think half of us are on the job search. I'm still waiting for my interview from McDonald's. They said they were going to call me.
They said you're overqualified.
Probably, but I didn't think I was. I had my heart set on the fry station. That's all I was thinking about. I didn't consider management.
Dude, you should manage and be like,
Yeah.
oh god,
Why do you
then
want to be on
they'll.
the fry station when you can be in charge of the guy on the fry station?
I didn't
It's
think about it, and then I could
the
still
daddy in
work the fry
chief.
station when I needed to.
The daddy in chief worked the fry station, so he's gonna work the fry station.
Yeah. Hey, Shift. Oh, good. We need him. Thank you for showing up. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Not broken, but not far away from it either. I gotta hustle. I gotta hustle soon. This YouTube is not the way.
No, this is just how we talk about it. This is not the real world.
No, it is and it isn't. In some ways, it's more real than the real world. Like I don't think I could have some of the conversations I have on here with people in the real world.
Yeah, that's very true. Some people in real world just don't have the attention span for these kind of conversations. Forget even the political correctness or just the tension or the discomfort people have about it. It's just they don't have the attention span for it.
Yeah, that's what kept me here in the first place because I couldn't find this amount of people like this in real life. Even in Seattle, even a city the size of Seattle, I could not find as many people as I found here to have these conversations with. You need the entire world as you reach.
Well, I can.
Shit.
Go
Are
ahead.
you serious? This is from Target. I got it like 5 years ago, and there was a commercial on TV, and there was a black guy in the commercial that had one just like it. That's how I knew that he got it from Target too. But thank you. Do what? Untrackable?
No, talking about the difference between the real world and like the panelverse. Like I have been called way worse things in the panelverse um, than in my to my face. But at the same time, I have had much more visceral conversations, much deeper, honest. Not just listening to, but being able to say things. I found that to be that's what I found out here. Now the risk of being called something or had somebody say something about me, uh, yeah, I find that here, but at the same time, I feel more open, you know. But then again, those detractors or those who aren't willing to have the conversation. They just want a name call. Yeah, I've been called a lot of things.
People say shit about you in the panelverse?
I
You seem
mean,
like one of the least controversial figures out there.
it happens.
Wow, that's. I think
Maybe
that's more of
he
a
gets more
statement of the
fiery
panelverse.
somewhere else. Do you get more fiery on a different panel?
I mean, I've had my fun and I've learned my lessons along the way. But you know, I've probably said some things that I wouldn't say to somebody's face.
Like
Yeah,
But
I
that
think you're
happens
like
a
one of
lot
the
on here.
nicest people on here.
Yeah, but
I
everybody here has.
like I'm
Go
not
ahead.
that extreme person. If I have something to say against what you said or the way you're acting, yeah, I'm maybe I'll say it. But at the same time, other people are way more brutal than I am when they do that. You know what I mean?
Vinny, you've been here 5 years since COVID. Yeah, me too. 5 years. That's like half of a decade. I don't even think I was an AOL addict for 5 years.
And you know what? I've met Vinny, and Vinny's somebody that I believe in. I can go back and forth with somebody like Vinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Vinny's a good guy. I've had some
Without being
great
mean.
conversations with Vinny.
What's up, gentlemen?
Mr. Cool. Where are you? You look like you're driving around in heaven. What's that light?
What up, Joe?
How did
What
you
up,
get up
babe?
there?
My nigga. I had to do that one time for you, Joe. You've always been waiting for me to say it. I don't even
What's
think you
up,
can hear
baby?
it. You didn't
What
even
they
hear
feeding
it,
you
did you?
today?
I heard you.
All
I
right,
heard
well.
you. I'm eating.
Man,
Oh,
I
me
miss you,
or
bro. Where
Moose?
you
I'm eating
been?
Burger King.
Have you been
I'm
hiding
in.
with
I've
real
been in
estate or what?
Colorado. I'm in Texas now.
What are you
I'm
doing in
in
Texas?
Texas. I'm headed to the Gulf, man. One of my buddies got a. I'm going to film, but one of my buddies is borrowed a sailboat, so I'm gonna go fucking sail around. I ain't never been nothing other than like a rowboat, man,
Oh, hell
and
yeah, man.
not
Are
on
you
the
taking the
ocean.
wife
So
out?
yeah.
Do
You
you know how
taking
to
the wife
swim?
on it?
No, this is a long trip.
Oh.
Wifey's back in Colorado, yeah.
There's somebody in the back named Timmy. Does anybody know Timmy?
Nope. I have no clue.
Timmy, if you have a channel, drop it in the back and I'll take a look. Or let me know what you're
Uh,
new here, so let me know what you want to talk about or
I'm
something.
I just stopped to gas up and get some food. I'm a mute because y'all don't need it. Might even kill my shit. Y'all don't need to see me eat and shit, but I'm here.
Oh, come on, bro. I mean, this is like
What are
this
you
is
eating?
the McDonald's versus the fucking Burger King. He's eating Burger
Whopper.
King.
Yeah, Burger King. That's the shit there.
A Whopper.
Hey, you know what the shit is? Is when the Burger King has that
Mm.
the Black Whopper for Halloween. That thing will make you shit.
Black Whoppers?
Yeah, it's a Halloween. It's a Halloween Whopper, and the bun is black.
What?
That makes you shit.
You've never had one?
Not even
I've
know
I
they
never
have
made
seen
them.
not,
How
man.
did I not know about the Black Whopper?
Man, Google it,
Please
dude.
tell me they don't call it the Black Whopper, do they?
Oh my
Nah, bro.
God!
It's a Halloween.
It
It's
looks
a Halloween Whopper.
I'm a
I don't know what they
Satanist and I
call
wouldn't
it.
even eat this thing.
Show us, man.
Oh my God! They can't sell many of these.
I
Look
feel
at this.
disgusting.
This is gross.
Hey Moose, it
I
makes me
bought
think of
one.
that SpongeBob episode.
A Halloween prank, maybe.
I call it the Nasty Patty.
Damn, you
Okay,
tickled
I'm
my belly with
all
that
right.
one.
I'm gonna bring this Timmy guy on. Let's see.
Do you have a cover screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also, what do they call that Whopper? Is it just the Whopper? Like, I mean,
Okay,
ha-
regular Whopper. They
Halloween
got
Whopper.
crazy shit, but
All
the
right,
Black
Timmy, you're on.
Whopper.
What's up?
Hello, hello. I was transported here from the OTW area,
Oh,
and
okay.
Oh, Mr.
You're not gonna
Karini.
porn
Yes,
bomb or
I know.
anything.
I know. No, no, no. He's good. He's good.
All
This
right.
I'm not
guy's
gonna form up.
he's a solid character.
What's up, man?
All
Sorry,
right.
Timmy. It's
Welcome.
been a while. I didn't know I'd see you in these parts.
Yeah, no worries. I just got ported over, and then I was
I
listening.
know
And I was like,
fucking
okay,
Timmy. What's up, bro?
what's up, Joe? Cool. What's up, man?
Uh,
No, I just came up because I heard you guys talking about work, and then I was just like weird. I was like, wait a second, because I read the the about on the channel, and it's just like scary / concerning to me that that folks that I don't know what word you want to pick, aware, awake, truther, like all those words suck, but
right.
on some level have discernment, and then it's like are stuck working at fucking Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's. That shit concerns me.
Bro, that is kind of sad, isn't it? But it's a means to an end because I have all my investments are all lined up and everything. It's just my liquid cash flow right now is low, so I want to hop back into the slave market for a little bit, get a little bit out of
What
it, and
the
then hop
fuck?
back out. Well,
Working
okay, all
at
right,
Dunkin'
that's getting
Donuts.
clipped for sure. You know what I'm talking
The
about?
Jeff haters are gonna be like, see who he brings on his
Where you
channel.
where you sell your life force for money. You're basically selling your time, energy, attention for a fiat currency. So yeah, I mean that's how I feel about it.
Well, what we have skills and we recognize that in each other. So one thing we're hoping to do here is somehow combine all our skills and figure out something to do where we don't have to work at Dunkin's the rest of our life. So
Oh,
I
I
think
was
it's
just
just a
kidding about the
temporary
Dunkin'.
strategy.
I wouldn't actually work at the Dunkin'. If I had to, I'd go back to the casino, which is a soul killer too.
What do you
You know,
do,
I mean,
Timmy?
yeah, I mean, I 10 years ago, I had 30-second of my background. I had a chemical engineering degree, and I was like, I saw all my friends from college going and working at like Exxon and L'Oreal, and I was just like, this doesn't align with me. Like, I can't do this. I'm not going to be an Exxon slave.
Jimmy, I was going to
Or
say that you said all the people with discernment seem to have shitty jobs. I was wondering if you didn't think for motherfuckers with discernment was kind of a casualty. You won't go towards certain jobs.
of course, like so that's why. I mean, I got an engineering degree because I wanted to make a fucking difference and do something powerful. So I did the one of the hardest things I thought it was, and I wanted to do renewable energy, and I realized that shit ain't profitable. And the people that do invent those kind of machines, they're not here anymore. So there's really no career path for that. So I
You'd
was
had
kind
to
of,
have some huge new step in the technology in order to make yourself
it's just not a goal of
be.
Exxon to destroy their $1 trillion market. Like that doesn't make any sense to make a thing
I
that,
agree.
a Tesla thing you put on your roof that's free, So yeah, so yeah. And after that, so I said, look, in 2014, 15, I was like, I see people on the internet doing something, running ads, writing blogs, whatever. I saw them making money. So I said, I'm going to figure this out and be able to do that. So that's what I did 10 years ago. I got around other guys that know how to do shit like that, learned it, and been relatively successful since then. So
Oh, what do you do? You got it to pay off?
yeah, I mean, immediately I got results in the sense that I just like the guy that my mentor back then. I just he was just he's a no nonsense kind of guy. He was just like, hey Tim, you got a lot of ideas, great. Listen, you need to be self motivated and coachable. That's all I need from you. Can you have that capacity? I said, yeah. And he said, all right, so just shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear any of your ideas. Just follow the process. Just follow a proven process, step by step, that uh, that other folks are doing now that are getting results. It's all the extra stuff um, that really like it's just like anything else. Like I was a snowboard instructor before, and I was a level 4 out of 10 when I started. I can teach 1, 2s, and 3s to get to 4. It's a step-by-step process to go from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. But like, you know, Sean White might be a 10. He's not going to teach zeros. So, but the point is just step by steps for things that the way for things to work, there's steps. And we're not taught wealth 1 and wealth 2 in public school. We're just not. So we're totally like, and I'm including myself in this, we're totally like not, we're completely just taught to be, corporate slaves. And that's the only way any of this works. And yet at the same time, most people idolize celebrities and folks that dropped out of school and started their own shit and ran their own stuff and controlled the values and ethics and all that stuff. So
Is
yeah,
that what you hope to do at some point?
well, I mean, I'm already doing. What do you mean? What is the question?
Like do your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been running my own thing for the past 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He has
So like,
concepts of a plan, Jeff.
He what?
He has concepts of a plan.
no, I run my own stuff.
So you've successfully translated your vision to reality. Is it your vision? It's exactly what you set out to do?
So I'll say this: so there's two paths usually people take. Like in this endeavor, they're like, oh, let me follow your bliss, and then that one day we'll kind of make it work, right?
Yeah.
Or I took the second path, which was do something that's ethical, follow a process that works, sustain yourself and do something that isn't sacrificing your morals and ethics, have a sustainable source of value coming in, and maybe that's a 40, 50 hour a week thing, and then on the side after that, do whatever the fuck you want with the other 50 hours a week, and perhaps that second thing may overtake the first thing. I see too many people doing the follow your bliss route and like, making their music. No offense to anybody that makes music, but like, that's tough. It's so. Yeah, how I got started is B2B, meaning businesses are always needing more shit, and it's way easier to sell a business $1,000 thing and sell five businesses at my $1,000 thing a month than to like go to the consumer market and do B2C, business to consumer, and like connect it to my passion, and like I'm not gonna do anything else. So it's way easier to be like, okay, well, I'm making a sustainable, steady thing that the market wants, and then now I have the free time to explore everything else. So that's okay at that too.
Wow, it's amazing how everybody's showing up today with the exact conversations that I've been looking for and needing to hear and have been on my own mind.
Cool, man. Yeah, glad to share, dude.
So how do you find the mentor if you're at like 3 and 4? How do you find the people that are at 5, 6, 7 that know how to teach the 2s and 3s?
The crazy thing is we all have access to the internet, right? So it's really like there's a saying that I heard from a guy named Jim Rohn. He says, for anybody that's his mentee, he said, if you take 1 step, I'll take 2. You take 2, I'll take 5. You take no steps, I'm not doing shit for you. Right? So I follow that. I do that for the people that work with me. So whatever you want to do, there's folks with vast like wells of information that nobody is asking them for help, because most people just aren't hungry. They're not self-motivated. They don't ask people anything. So just find somebody that has a position or like is a little bit beyond you, and then just ask them, email them, call them, like tweet them. And now you got to be creative too, right? Like you're not going to tweet at Elon Musk and like get an internship.
I did.
Yeah,
and I sent my resume to him for the Doge.
Yeah.
You got to sit next to Elon Musk at like an airport or something. You got to be really lucky.
Yeah. Follow his jet on that stalker tweet tracker, and then find him. But I mean, yeah, fortune favors the bold, man. So, but first you got to know what the fuck you want. And honestly, the folks that I've seen fail constantly are just not clear at all with what they want. And that's really question one. And I'll ask folks like, okay, what do you want? What's, and then they'll go, I don't want this, 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 and this. I don't want to be a slave. I want to be free. And it's like, okay, great. Now what do you want? And then they say, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. And it's like, okay, well, you're not answering my question, because they spend more time thinking about the stuff that is kind of blocking them and their fears. But
well, a lot of us want to follow our bliss, but you said that might not always.
Yeah, a lot of people focus so hard on being free, and then they don't know what they do if they're free.
That's true. That's very true, dude. That's very true. They want to be free, and then they get it, and they're like, "What? Right. Well, what do I do now?"
Right, and then that's the thing. It's what you do when you're free is what you want, and if you don't even know what you want, it's like, why even be free then?
That's true. I mean, yeah, I've seen that firsthand. That's why I don't really. I mean, people can do what they want, but that's why I don't really tell folks to follow your bliss thing and then think about the money aspect with it. Because the thing is, follow your bliss, because you should be doing that anyway. Like you shouldn't be doing it only if you get a check. That doesn't make any sense. So, later at some point, if you can connect, hey, I do this thing. This is what I would do for free anyway. That's how I live now. In the businesses that I do, it's basically because I'm a creative. Like I like to do, I'm like at the beginning of the idea, and then I'm like, okay, this is interesting for me. Every day I'm like, okay, cool. How do we make this better? What do we do? Iterations, the machine, let's make it better. Let's do new things here, new promotions here. But like, and then I have partnerships with other folks within the organization that handles stuff that I'm absolutely horrible at. So knowing thyself and knowing what you're good at and not good at is a huge aspect to it. But yeah, so and I don't need to get value like money from my bliss necessarily. Like it doesn't have to be all of them too. Like one of my favorite things to do is snowboard. I used to be a snowboard instructor. I don't have to like I don't need to formulate my whole business life around snowboarding. It's just we're multi-talented, we're multifaceted.
It's also getting what you're good at to the people that need it too. The distribution
Yeah, that's
aspect
right.
of it.
Like that's the big right. So those are the three aspects. You've got like a circle and like a Venn diagram with the three circles. There's what the market wants, like what you're passionate about, and then what you're actually good at. Those three things. So what the market wants, what you're good at, what you're passionate about. So I'd say start with what the market wants and what you're good at, and that means and you can learn shit. So YouTube is
How
just
do
a
you
vast
find what the
library.
market wants other than job ads?
Yeah, for sure.
If there's a posting for it and they'll pay money, then that's what the market wants.
Yeah, but that's that's such a scattershot way of trying to figure out the. Does the market ever know what it wants? Like, does it always know what it wants? So maybe sometimes it wants something it doesn't know it wants until you show up.
There's different levels of awareness in marketing, like how aware is the market on, do they need a solution? Like, are they aware of the problem? Are they aware of a potential solution, etc.? But the amazing thing is, the internet is extreme. It's just like, it's double-edged sword, right? It's like, oh my God, we're losing our privacy. Like, we're posting all this shit online on LifeLog / Facebook. Oh my God, this is insane. Like there's a lot of negative aspects to it, but then it's also like, okay, but on the other side, it's like, okay, there's Facebook groups, like 3 billion people on earth are in Facebook groups. That's just like one example. So you can find literally anything that you want to know what the market is asking about, and just go into that Facebook group and just read the posts, read what people are asking about, read the problems that people are having. You can go to do that on Reddit. You can do that on Twitter. You can do that on any of the social media apps, essentially. Discord, Telegram. You can just be
We're looking for problems.
Yeah. Find friends who have started their own successful businesses and just hang out with them, and then notice what they notice. Yeah. Because the thing I've noticed is that businessmen, like there's their business, but they often notice other things, and then they'll have like, well, this could be another idea if I need an alternative, or the current thing doesn't work out and this seems better. They notice things like that. Their minds are seeing that. So hang out with them and then see what you can pick up from hanging out with them. That might be a good way to start too.
Yeah, there's philosophies of life essentially that I've adopted. A lot of them, I guess, I've already had and kind of hated the job world in the first place. And I think that I'm speaking for myself, right? But that anger, that hatred, that like vitriol and like just that annoyance, I think folks need to like leverage it and utilize it more, and just not stop at that anger. Because I didn't stop at that anger. I used to work at a restaurant with my chemical engineering degree before I figured anything out, going fuck. And every day I was sitting there on the yellow pad, I'll take your order pad, and I'm like every day writing new business ideas, every day writing new invention ideas. And I'm not just sitting there complaining like the other guys. I'm sitting there going in between, everybody's eating, fed. I'm just like, okay, what the fuck can I do about this? Where's there a problem? What's going on here? And just always brainstorm, because I wanted my freedom, and I wasn't going to sacrifice morals or ethics to get it. But it's about the philosophies that we have. It's also about leverage as one of the philosophies. It's like, okay, I'll give you guys an example since it was contextual from before. You guys are saying about like different jobs and stuff. Well, I would ask all of you, or for anybody that this is relevant to, it's like, well, if you haven't found the work situation that you really want yet, it's like, okay, well, how many people have you asked what their problem is, right? Like, how many businesses have you walked into and just went like, and talked directly to the owner, if the owner's there, and been like, what's your top 2 most pressing problems that you're having right now that you wish it were solved tomorrow? And then a quote unquote job or work situation could develop from that, like almost instantly. If you're like, you can go and solve that problem for them. You can create your own.
Owners just make themselves available to people that walk in off the street, want to talk to them?
It depends what the business is, right? It could be like a salon. It could be a barbershop. It could be a restaurant.
I think it helps if you can naturally meet people who are in business.
That's what I was going to say. Like, where do owners hang out? Are there social or networking opportunities?
Talk to old people at Starbucks.
Yeah, that's a bit
And
scattershot. I mean, you can do that. I like more direct approaches. But yeah, you could just if you have the gift of gab, you can just start talking to anybody wherever you are, and just
well, I worked there, so I got to know some of them. And
sure,
you know, they have a background in business, and plenty of them still are active into their 60s and 70s. They're still doing things. They don't retire.
sure.
So if they're there and they're clearly not retired, um, but they can afford Starbucks, they probably run some kind of business, and just they're successful enough that they don't feel the cost of Starbucks.
Yeah, it's sort of scattershot, but I mean, that's very generalized, right? If somebody has a specific thing that they have skills in already, for example, like if Moose is constantly working at restaurants, let's just take him as an example. It's like, well, like what else? Like this is the crux of the whole thing. It's like, well, what else? What other value add can you add on top of just being a waiter? Like the last waiter
I've
job I
never worked
had,
a
I
restaurant
understood
though.
this, and I went in there and I was like, look, I'm not interested in applying for one of your other slave waiter jobs. It's like I'm applying for head waiter. I'm going to organize these motherfuckers. I'm going to train them in sales so that the average check value of every table goes up. I'm going to train them. I'm not coming in to like sweep floors for like $2 an hour of the waiter wage. Like I'm not doing that. Coming in from 5 to 10 only and like being head waiter. And then I'll train them outside of that for 10 hours a week. And I'm getting $20 an hour plus tips. And I'm like, take it or leave it. And we did the interview and he was like, well, I don't think this is going to work. I'm like, okay, bye. And then he called me back 3 days later. He's like, are you still available? I said, yes. That was the only one I tried it on. So you got to be able to bring that value though, right? Like what problems do they have? Restaurant managers have so many problems. They're working like 80 hours a week. They're overworked, underpaid, right? Because the owner isn't paying them so much. Their processes are all over the place, right? Instead of just being another waiter and complaining about it, what problems can you solve directly for him and just figure something out? We can't just have the average value to the market and then complain that we're getting paid like some shitty rate. Moose, what do you think?
On the note of complaining, I think when you're trying to think, well, what are problems people want to solve? Well, what are pain points that your business can solve? It's important to remember as well that not all pain points are meant to be solved. Some people like having problems so that they have a reason to complain. And there's some things you could spend time.
He was correct in a lot of things, but I just got to be clear. I've never worked in a restaurant.
A Starbucks restaurant.
I mean,
similar.
yeah. When I was a kid, like right out of when I was in college or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like it wasn't as sophisticated as like a restaurant. Like a restaurant takes a lot more skill, I would say.
Yeah. Also, when you're dealing with a giant corporation like Starbucks, there's like very little wiggle room, and they've got all the processes in place, and like they're not going to want to deal with you. They're just going to say, "Shut up," and just.
Yeah, you can't negotiate anything. Even if you're great, your manager can't give you a raise or anything like that.
Right.
On Thanksgiving, real quick, Timmy, on Thanksgiving, I actually sent an email to the owner of the grocery store, and I gave him a list of all the ways that I can help the business, all the ways he's currently losing money in the business, what I would need to fix it, and then my compensation that I would want for it. And I actually put the compensation above the person that's in charge of the store. So like I am playing hardball this time. I'm seeing where it goes.
Once you realize that you can just do that, like Steve Jobs said, there's no rules. As long as you stay within, I would hope and trust that the folks here and in the audience are having some sort of moral and ethical code. So if that's understood, then there's no rules. Why do you have to just get one job and then you're stuck with that contract and then they can fire you anytime and you can quit anytime? There's no security in that. Our dads used to say, "Oh, job security, work at a big corporation." Yeah, that's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. It's a different world.
You have the least job security with a corporation.
Of course. That's why you have it. Of course it does. Of course it's true. So you have to control your own job security. The only way you can is by controlling that you keep becoming more valuable every day. So there's no reason why you can't you can't look at every restaurant in a 10 square mile radius and just email them the same thing, Moose, right? Like if you have a knack for seeing that kind of thing, or excuse me, the supermarket.
Bro,
Now, I
I
know a lot
did
of
it again
supermarkets are
today.
chains,
Hey,
but
Timmy,
yeah,
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like something inspired me
go.
on Thursday to start doing this, and it feels so good. Like I went into the interview today, right, and the pay was $21 an hour. It said on the Indeed thing, right. And then when I got to the end of the conversation with him, he says, "So what are you looking like for pay?" And I said 52,000. And yeah, that's low, right? That's still low, but it's like $4 or $5 higher than what it said on the Indeed thing. And he didn't even flinch. He didn't even flinch because it's not his money. He works for a big corporation. If he can sign the check, he'll sign it. Who cares? Right?
When
Like
do you
there's
find
like you're
out?
saying, there's no rules. I'll find out after he interviews like 2 or 3 other people, he said.
Hmm.
But even if I don't get the job, I'm going to continue on with the fact that like I'm going to ask for what I want to ask for, not what they're offering. Because what they're going to want in return is always more than what they put down on that paper.
Yeah. I've even had some chances to do that with my article writing. Because I've had the editors reach out and they say, "Hey Joe, this stock's gotten a lot of hits lately, but we don't have an article covering it for like the last 3 months. Would you be willing to cover it? You know, it's a $65 fixed payment already for someone who covers it." And I'll be like, I'm not confident I'll make a lot on this one. I need to make sure I make more. And they're like, okay, we'll throw in the $60 outreach bonus. So now I get the $65 fixed payment, the $60 outreach bonus, and whatever the variable earnings are from the engagement. And they don't even fight. They say, okay, here, have more money. And I don't even have to haggle that much. It's just in one email. No, I want more. Okay, here's more. Should do that every time, if you ask me.
Negotiation.
Yeah, the thing with negotiation is you have to be willing to walk away and actually mean it. So it's not a tactic. Like if you know you have value and leverage, then you can walk away.
Yeah.
That's why having one job isn't really a good strategy, because you can't leave it.
Yeah, and especially because for them, like, I can just write another article, about which I feel more confident that I think is going to make more money. So the one that they think is the one to be covered, I could choose. They have made that article less competitive because there's so many other articles that I could cover, that'll have the same fixed payment and more likely to get good variable earnings as well. So it's like, beat your own price basically on that you have on the other articles. You gotta notice where they've accidentally painted themselves into a corner. In other words, what would Trump do? That's all. That's all you got to say.
Are you serious?
I'm not really joking. Like, he looks at things like that.
Why does it have to be adversarial though?
Trump's not adversarial when it comes to deal making.
I'm not talking about Trump. Just talking about like, you're like, yeah, find where they're and fuck them. Like that's what the energy I get from you.
Oh, I guess that's a situation in which it can be. I mean, obviously, if they're not getting anything out of it, they wouldn't even have the job posting in the first place or whatever. But, yeah, I guess I don't interpret what I said as adversarial. But if they're like handing you an obvious
Be
win,
like
use
Trump?
it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Trump's deal-making sensibility is inherently adversarial. I think he's more adversarial when he's like on TV, but
This is
there
where
was this
Timmy was talking about levels. Like
yeah.
me and Timmy are on a whole nother level. We
What
don't
level you
play
on?
with the same
Dude, no, don't say we're on the. Oh yes, your statement I guess is true, but most we're not on the same level.
Oh. Moose, he said you're not even on his level.
Well, I mean, I don't know why he left, but I don't. If he has this understanding, he shouldn't be applying for one job. Like he should be making whatever his understanding is into some kind of business. And
Oh shit!
Yeah, he said you're
We
not
go
on his
about.
level. Don't try to put
Oh, I
yourself there.
know. I was just being funny, Timmy.
Yeah, I know. I was
But
making sure,
I mean, I also was recognizing the fact that I do believe that Timmy doesn't believe in voting and that bullshit. So that's what
Oh
I was
yeah,
pointing out.
yeah. I mean, we can talk about that, but then it's just like
Oh, and
we're
neither
gonna
does
get
Joe. Y'all are all
the
that.
same
Y'all are all on that
conversation.
level.
Yeah, voting's no good.
I
Don't
know,
do
but
that
it's
unless you're a
beyond that.
shareholder.
Don't do it. Leave the power to the rest of us. We'll make the
It's true.
decisions for you.
That's right.
Hey,
You
vote,
make whatever
vote for
laws you
yourself.
want.
Vote for yourself. There you go. Yeah, so like perspective moves. It's like you're doing that with one thing. It's like for one of my clients, like just one, we would send 25,000 emails a week. So it's like compare that with like, oh, I sent like 10 job applications today. It's just like, well,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
ability exists, right?
it
So
does. It's
just
easy.
do it.
10 is a lot for one day.
Yeah.
It's really not hard to submit applications. You know what though? Like the corporations, they do make it like hard. They make you go to their website and they want you to sign up for. If they make me do that
That's
shit, I just
good.
skip it.
Yeah.
They do
From that point
everything they
on,
can
I
to
skip.
individualize you from step
That's
one.
why I
That's what
applied to
they do.
McDonald's because I got to talk to
But you,
Olivia, the AI, and it took like less
but you
than
have
two
to think.
minutes.
You guys should think about. You guys can do whatever you want, but from my perspective, you should try to see why they're doing that. Put yourself in their shoes. There are so many idiots that can't follow basic direction. I put a job post out. I'm not calling that a job. I don't put job posts. I put an opportunity to work with me in some capacity, and like it says, it's just like the only thing you have to do is just click this link and fill in the form. And like 50% of people just don't do that. They like will message me somewhere. Now, granted, they can do whatever they want. If they're amazing, they can message me. They can call me right now. They somehow found my phone number and call me. Say, hey, look, I know you said fill this form, but I'm not a slave like the rest of those assholes. So here's why I'm calling. I would listen. I would listen. So you have to have a reason to call, though. You have to have a reason for why the slave process doesn't apply to you. You can't
I
just
have a
say,
ton
"Oh,
of
I don't
reasons. I'm
want
going to
this
try
slave
that.
process." Yeah, well, again, you got to have the value behind it. You have to have the actual
I do.
core like thing behind it. And also another level to that is maybe you're going to tell them something that they don't already know. That's a big problem. Like that's again, if you're not an expert at something, you can't really tell me as the hiring manager or whatever position that is that you know more than them and that you can command a 10x of the price or value because they already know it. Like people on LinkedIn or Indeed posting about jobs, they know what their problem is. And they're going to pay $50,000 a year or whatever it is to solve it because they know it's going to make them $500,000 a year. They're not evil because of that. I mean, we don't have to get into the whole capitalism conversation because obviously communism is not better. But if you just think about why they're doing that, most people are idiots. So why would they take the time out of their day to listen to everybody individually when statistically most people are not that bright?
True. If you're gonna
Yeah, I
break
don't
the
apply
rules,
for
you
those
better really
jobs.
impress, right?
It's damn true.
Right.
I think it's also true. Like if you already work at a place, they need to make it clear that they can lose you too, even if you didn't have to go through all that in the interview process. Um, especially once you work there and you have demonstrated your value, it's no longer speculative. Like in the interview process, they don't know what you're going to be like, and really, you may not even know what you're going to be like. And working for them, even if you know the basic business that it is, working for them could be still very different. But once you've done it a while and you have a record of successes, as especially if you're standing above whoever your peers might be, that needs to be taken into account too. It doesn't end once you've got the job. I remember the CEO of the law firm where I worked, like he was surprised that I quit when I got treated the way I did. He couldn't believe it. It was unimaginable to him that I would leave, but I did because there were some things I wouldn't accept.
Well, I don't know if I'm more encouraged or discouraged after hearing all this.
Well, let me ask you.
I
I was just
agree
gonna
with
ask.
most of it, but I don't.
Okay. Yeah. What
It's
do you
not
want to
easy.
do, man? What would be something that like you? I think I heard you say you used to do mental health stuff.
Yeah, I still do mental health.
Yeah, right. Dealing with these panels on mental health
You got to.
education itself, right?
His LLC
Oh,
is still going too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what is something that you know the market? Well, so what's something that you're? I see. You have to. Where do you start? You have to pick one of the things to start at. Either start a problem and then you go and learn a new solution, or you apply a solution or skill that you already have to that problem, or you start at the skills you have and then find the market. You get what I'm saying? It's either or. What have you been thinking about in this regard?
Well,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about the self-employment and the entrepreneurial stuff. I've only just started shifting to what I can do for other people, like the job stuff. But I'm really good with crazy people and weird people, neurodivergent people, autistic, ADHD, any employers that have those kind of employees that don't know how to manage them or don't know what to do with them. I used to teach special ed. I
I think the
worked in
problem is,
psych wards.
Timmy, you mentioned before you want to try and get into a B2B business because a B2B business can write a big check for whatever your little thing is, and then
It's just
after a
easier,
while,
dude. It's
yeah.
easier.
Because
And
most
so,
of my
but
skill set is working with specific individuals, so it's
yeah,
how
so
to
as a peer
translate that to
counselor,
the business level.
yeah, as a peer counselor, he's B2C, unless he wants to, develop a new
Training,
skill or rethink
management,
his
that
skill.
type of stuff I could do for a business.
I think yours is a sales and marketing thing, right? It's like if you're gonna focus on neurodivergent people, right? Like you gotta find them and you need a way to be constantly reaching out to them so that you have a pipeline. And it's interesting how my mind goes. I just think about what are the businesses, like when I'm researching stocks, what are the ones that do well do? And then how would I just apply that logic to Jeff?
Most entrepreneurs are ADHD or have some kind of neurodivergence. Like it's not normal people that are starting these businesses to begin with.
Yeah.
But they don't always
Yeah.
know how to manage employees like that, especially if it's heavily corporate with a lot of bureaucracy
Let me ask you
and
this,
rigid rules
Jeff.
that they have to fit into.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. Are you geographically limited in where you can do your business? Like, are
What
you
you
stuck
mean?
to only? So, are you stuck only doing clients in Washington?
No, I work remotely. I can do any kind of
Okay.
work remotely, but I would relocate in a second. I hate it here.
So, if you had like a nationwide like marketing effort and you could remotely get clients from
Yeah.
Virginia, Michigan, wherever.
Yeah, I'm already set up to work remotely.
So you don't okay? Because I say that because I know that with licensing and certifications, you were often constrained, especially with like mental health, to that state, right?
Oh,
Um,
not what I do, not the peer
okay,
counseling.
okay. I just want to be sure about that. You know,
Philip, this that's part of the problem. That's the limitation of the business itself, that they're not able to focus individuals, that they focus on a group. That's a choice the business is making. So that I that could be one of the things I address is show them the
Okay, so
benefits of focusing on individuals and having somebody there that knows how to do that, so that they're not constrained by only focusing on groups.
okay, I'm just gonna
yeah.
give you
So
my can I give you my raw just my raw feeling, Jeff, and thought?
Yeah,
You won't be
your
offended.
thoughts or your feelings, they're the same
My
thing.
Yeah, well, can I just be completely blunt
Yeah.
with you? Is that okay? Yeah, so when I hear that, like it's very unclear. Like the words, you just like you threw a cloud at me. Like I just heard a cloud. Like I'm gonna do X, like, and then you say neurodivergent, you do this, that. If I was the business owner and there was 100 folks under me, and I knew that some of them or maybe a lot of them are quirky and maybe ADHD, but we're not like PC, so we don't even take the test and to figure it out. Like we're just like, yeah, we're weird. Like that's part of the culture. It's fine. Like our culture as a company, it's like you got to be way more like specific to be able to have the conversation with me and talk to me in a way that makes sense for why I should listen.
Well, that was me brainstorming. I don't know your
Yeah.
specifics. I would
No, I'm just
figure
saying
that out.
I'm saying as any business owner that has folks, like, you got to be much more clear on like what the problem is, what you do, how fast it can, what's the bottom line essentially.
Well, I don't know what their problems. That's what I'm saying. I would have to determine that through conversation with them. I don't know what their problems are. I was brainstorming some of the things that I think I could do for a business, but I wasn't targeting any specific problem or laying out
Okay.
anything specific. Joe, did you hear a cloud? Because you kind of seemed to get what I was saying.
Yeah, I kind of got what you were saying. Like, I know that there, like, some businesses have like, as part of their perks, like they have like people who provide like mental health sort of things, like meditation, guided meditation
Microsoft has an
courses.
entire department, or they did at one time, that was trying to recruit neurodivergent people, and they had this whole bureaucracy for how to work with, and none of them knew what they were doing. Like they were all like working off of some
Yeah,
template that trying to apply it to these people. And forget the neurodivergence, forget all of that stuff. There are untapped strengths in some of the existing employees that I know how to tap into. Like I can identify individual strengths that other people that don't have an eye for that kind of stuff might miss or might see and not know how to work with or bring out or leverage. That is what I do. I find people's strengths and I pull them out and I help them to put them to use. I can't imagine that would not be of a benefit to a
Okay,
business
give me
that
an
wanted to
example.
maximize the effectiveness of its employees.
Give me an example, like just to pick someone. Be like, started here, went to here.
Like with my clients,
Sure.
well, it depends on what their goals are, but a lot of them are intelligent. A lot of them are creative. They can write. They're artistic. They think in ways that normal people might not think. So they're creative problem solvers that people don't realize that they can solve. It depends on whatever the specifics of that situation are.
Yeah, just pick one though. Like Sally, 35. She was doing this, and this, and her goal was this, and then you worked with her, and then she achieved the goal. Right.
Well, I mean, even on this stream, people have shown up and done things that they weren't doing before. I don't know. I'd have to think about the specifics.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Go through.
Timmy's having a hard time with this one.
I'm having a hard time thinking of
No,
specifics
I
from the
kind of was
past.
like, I was.
But I
kinda
could go
doing
through the
what you said.
past. I could go through and think of some situations from the past and then get them down and use those as examples.
Yeah, ultimately, like you can, if you help folks on here all day, it's like that's fine. If you do it for free, it's like okay. So then the challenge would be, to convert that into, having more impact and working with folks that will actually pay for it because
Yeah.
you have something extremely valuable, which is unlocking.
So take what I've done in the past and be very concrete about get some specific examples.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Jeff, say you okay, so I
Yeah.
come into the room, right, and I'm having marriage issues, right? And I sit down and you have the solution for my marriage issues. And I pay you for that. That's an example. That's all he's asking for. Just one.
Yeah, but it
one
was
time
more
that
about
he's got
strengths.
paid for that.
Like you show up and you're not quite sure about what your strengths or abilities are, and together we figure out something that you can do that you didn't realize you could do before. Then you start doing that thing. Because I
Like
don't think a
music.
business is going to care about people's marriage lives, or maybe they will if they have miserable
No,
employees that don't
I'm
necessarily have to
making
be
an
miserable.
example for you to try to give us an example of some, so that way you can just. Because if you can't give an example, what that means is you have to work a little bit.
It just means I have to
what
I
you
have
can
to go
offer.
through my memory banks and pull them out.
Right, and write down what you can offer. Get that
Yeah.
concrete. so that way you
Yeah.
can sell it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's hard to
that's what
sell
he's
a
saying.
car
Like, go through all
if you
the
don't
people I've
know.
helped from when I was teaching the mental health work, all of that, and pull out all the situations where people have discovered their strengths or grown or whatever from, like, the direct impact that I've had on whatever they did, whatever they
Right.
actualized.
Right, but well,
It,
imagine trying to one more thing. Imagine trying to sell a car, right? But you don't know how many passengers the car can fit. It's like that.
it's chicken and egg, right? Because if you have such a wide like range of people and situations you can help, it does. You feel like, oh, I'm restricting myself, and that's what it is, right? Because you are restricting yourself to a certain situation. Yeah, I mean, like, for
Lou, I
example,
disagree. I think ADHD is great for business if they know how to tap into it.
yeah, dude, like I'm already I'm seeing your ad right now. It's like, because I know hundreds of guys like this. So you might have a niche of working with entrepreneurs. Like, you're working with the guy at the top that runs the thing, and he is creative, but he's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, if I saw your ad 5 years ago, I don't know, maybe even today, if you give me a specific on what exactly
Come on,
it is
Joe.
that can help me do, it's like I might be interested. It's like because I'm constantly scattered. I think people would say I
I'm
have
really good at
ADHD. I don't
organizing
know.
people, organizing their brains. I have a very
Right,
organized
because
brain.
like I'll show you look at the desk. It's like, yeah, they're in stacks, but like
That doesn't
that
look scattered at all.
but no, it's not necessarily scattered, but each of those pages is one idea that's like, oh, this is a great idea, and then it's like, fuck, today I had 10 more, and then it's like there's 50 things to get done, and then it's like, shit. So there's things like that
What
where
do you
it's
do
like
with them when you have them? You put them on a paper and you put them in a stack? Even that's a start, but
yeah, but then sometimes they get lost, and then there's prioritization, and then it's overwhelming because you have, like, even this right now is great, but it's like,
do they connect? Do the ideas connect at all and link up with each
of
other? Or are
course,
they just
yeah.
random?
Sometimes they're like, oh, I want to do this, and then it's like, shit, I don't have the time to execute this, or we don't have the money to deploy to this right now, or we don't have the workforce, I don't have the guys for this, and then it's like, okay, I got to do that later, and then we got this and this to get done. It's just a sort of, you can call it like productivity, I guess.
So you need a way to
But it does,
prioritize the ideas and decide which ones are actionable in the moment.
yeah, and pretty much, and then
And you need some
sometimes
criteria to do that. And a lot of
right,
that's going to depend on your
yeah,
goals. And if it's business goals, it's like, what are your business goals? Let's pull
right,
out some criteria that you can use to where you have an idea, you can match them up to these goals. Or if it's personal goals, it would work the same way.
sure. I'm not alone in that. Folks have being creative and being good at what they do, and then
We
being
talk
very
about that
scattered.
on here all the time. That's one of my frustrations for this channel is it's the dreamers versus the doers. I attract probably 99 dreamers for one doer that shows up on this channel. And if I could
Then,
attract more doers or
but then it makes
dreamers that know how to do,
yeah.
we could do so much more than we're already doing here.
Dude, that makes sense. I learned something a while ago that you would definitely, I think, like. It's called Wealth Dynamics by a guy named Roger Hamilton. And he says it very simply that we are naturally wired to a certain mode, like you say, dreamers or doers. So some people have their head in the clouds up
Yeah.
here, right? Dreaming, thinking, creative, doodling while the teacher's doing math. And then the other half of folks are just like ear to the ground, right? Like this dude, traders, is a trader. He's trading. That means his value comes from knowing the tempo of situations. The same thing as being a waiter at a restaurant. You're constantly like focused on your tables, feeling the tempo and the vibe and the situation, the flow. Like I sucked as a waiter because it's like I'm out in the corner like I should invent a new French fry fryer, and it's like I'm like, oh shit, all my tables are like, everyone's like, where's my steak? Fuck you, this guy sucks. And I'm like, so it doesn't work. So
Holy shit, you're that dude. You're the dude. I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
hey,
you shouldn't be on the floor
you're not
waiting at
a
all.
waiter,
You
yo.
should be off in a
Nah.
corner inventing shit.
20
But
minutes
Yeah.
why
later.
I did have the success. that I
Donald
did
Trump would have made a better McDonald's employee than you.
Yes, exactly. He is, because he is a deal maker. That's his archetype. So that is ear to the ground, the tempo, being aware of the other people. It's very precise. It's based in the I Ching too. It's very interesting. The thing, Hawaii dynamics. So it's very cool. If people know who they are, then they know who they need to have around them. And just jamming everybody in the same path is an absolute disaster. Absolute
Jeff, what I'm thinking is like with the lack of doers is some people are almost doers, but they need like the right carrot dangled in front of them before they do it. So I think some of it's that. Like some people can kind of just show up and do things. That's why I do the streams with you, Jeff, and why I'm being consistent with it. But yeah, other folks, I think that's they need to know like, well, how are they part of it? Like take insurance companies for example, right? Everyone needs insurance, but most insurance companies can't just sell their own insurance. They need an agent. And they usually get agents from outside the company. Some have their own people, and then the agent usually gets a big fat commission for it. And that's their incentive. And they would sell no insurance. They could have great customer service. They could have a great insurance product. They could have good options in terms of what amount of coverage you want, the price you can get. But if they don't have agents.
The agents are the
sell
people that communicate all that to the customer.
Yeah, and it's a sales and marketing thing. Like, and I think that's probably like whether we're talking about the speed at which the Nexus develops, or even your own LLC with the peer counseling, right? I think the biggest bottleneck is the sales and marketing aspect.
I call that distribution, but yeah, from the LLC, it's just the opportunity. I'm not sure where my clients are hanging out, and so that's the biggest difficulty there. But as far as this channel, I can't tell you how many ideas we've had for this that people have shown up, because every time somebody gets an idea, I get excited because I'm ready to start doing it. I don't realize that they're just dreaming. We have movies we were going to produce. We had online panel games we were going to produce. We had the video game thing we were going to stream. We had collaborations with other channels. These are all ideas that people spun out in their mind that got me all excited. None of them happened.
Killed. Oh my god.
What?
I got 4 kills with a grenade. It just felt good.
Okay, well.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that like I would be like, wow, like nobody cares. Like unfortunately, like.
But they're the ones on here talking about it very passionately, getting everybody else excited about it. But all they want to do is indulge their ideas. I've tried to have meetings. Okay, good. When are we going to do this? Let's meet this week and talk about it. Never happens. So people talk. There's so many great ideas that have been generated verbally on this stream that I was ready to take into actuality, thinking that they were too, because they were so convincing about their ideas, but none of it ever happened. So that's what I'm talking about. It generates a lot of good ideas, but nothing ever comes from the idea because it's the dreamers, not the doers.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. You're going to attract dreamers if you're a dreamer. That's just natural. Like when I told you I got that first mentor, he's a doer. He fucking he's the complete opposite of me, and that's exactly what I needed at that moment.
How do you, like all your ideas that you have, let's say you have 100 a week, how many do you actually execute on?
Well, I mean, some of them are like rehashed, right? Let me think about this again. Let me refine this. I don't know, maybe 3. There's only so much you can do.
Even
3, 4, 5.
3's pretty good out of a week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm never satisfied, which is good and bad at the same time.
Yeah. But that's one of my frustrations, is it draws all this creativity, but it's not the people that they're bringing the ideas, but they're not bringing the doingness, and I can't force that on people.
That's why I like business. So to me, business is like art. It's a little bit like science, and it's also art, because again, within moral and ethical bounds, I can do whatever I want. And so, I can create whatever I want to create, and it'd be weird and wacky. And sometimes it's a smashing success. Sometimes it's a horrible dumpster fire failure. But either way, I'm just like, I was in the ring. Even if I got knocked out, I was in the ring. I mean, my boxing career, I'm 0-1. I got a TKO, or was it a knockout? I was hungover. But anyway, I don't care. I fought, did the fight. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like, to get the doer aligned with the dreamer, there has to be the thing that's connecting them for why they're doing it, right? So, I mean, my mentor at the time, it's all he does is business and working on his own business, and he works with other folks, and he mentors. It's just like, that's all he does. That's all the guy does. And his main thing is that he thinks through entrepreneurship is the best way to add the most impact. And at that time, I was like, I want to do that too. I want to be an entrepreneur. So we're aligned on that.
Well, that's what we were trying to do here, Joe and I. But part of the reason we're doing this Nexus thing, which is kind of like a sub-community of this, is that a lot of us, a lot of outliers, neurodivergent people are not going to be successful in a normal corporate job, 9-to-5 job. We want to find ways to empower them to be their own person, have their autonomy, everything. And self-employment, entrepreneurship was one of the best ways we came up to do that. And so one of the things we're trying to do here is bring in entrepreneurs or people that want to be entrepreneurs, become entrepreneurs, because that's a good way for neurodivergent people to have a path forward in some kind of future outside of the system that's not set up for them in the first place.
Right. I mean, yeah. Somebody says it's a tiny curtain. Are things okay? It's a. I don't know. This room is a weirdly constructed.
It's a window.
I don't know why. There's like a tiny window. It's weird. I don't know why it's like that. Horrible architecture for this building. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think you're spot on. Most of the people, 99% of the people I spend my time with are other entrepreneurs. They're all nuts, dude. So I'm just saying that, colloquially, like, they're nuts. Probably half of them are neurodivergent, ADHD, like, we're, weird. So, and that's their strength. So you're definitely onto something, man.
Yeah, it's just having somebody that can help focus and organize that or like get them to figure out what they do best and maximize that for themselves. Because like you said, a lot of it, especially with creative people, it can be a chaos for themselves. And if somebody can come in and start to find patterns or identify areas of strength or interest or focus.
Dude, I don't know where it would be if I didn't, I don't know, blessed by the creator or just, well, I have to say that's got to be number one. The teacher appears when the student is ready. So if I wasn't ready and I didn't come across my mentor at that situation, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be just a mess still, which is scary. But
so it was just meeting the right person at the right time.
I was ready. I was constantly hunting, right? So I was constantly looking for how are these people doing business online, because I wanted my freedom. I wanted to be able to travel. I've been to like 35 plus countries in the past 9 years. And so I was extremely hungry. And then I think it was like a YouTube ad, dude. Actually, you know what it was? It was just totally like out of the blue. I would watch like the thought leaders of the past 30, 40 years, like the Zig Ziglars, Jim Rohn, these kinds of guys, motivational folks. You don't know this guy's name? It's so good. But just folks that are constantly talking about and being and living human achievement, how to be the best you can be.
I did a podcast about a year ago with some business guy. He has a business podcast and he interviews people that have businesses, and he got all excited about me. And he like talked me up, and he said, "Dude, I'm gonna put you in touch with all these people. I think what you're doing is amazing." But and I never heard from him, so I figured it was just talk. It's just what business people do.
Hey, I mean, look, I the first thing I said when I came in here was, I'm scared and concerned that all the honorable people are not business people. Like it's frightening. It's terrifying. And that's I mean, because I don't run LLCs. Like I do. I work in the private. I don't pay any sort of taxes. People go, oh my God, he pays sales tax sometimes when he buys an Apple. Okay, yeah, sure, but don't correlate that with you paying 30% on your fucking income tax, because I run a private operation. It's not a public business.
You
I'm not
have your
under
own
the jurisdiction.
business.
I don't even call it that. It's just a busyness, really. It's I have property that I share with others. It's really a trust, essentially. I have property, and I share it with others in a private via agreement. So there's no third party. Where's the third party? So all the agreements are, hey, if there's an issue, we both agree that we'll be men, and we'll go to arbitration, a third party private arbitrator, not the state of Nevada or the state of Delaware. No, I'm not interested, because I'm not a public
Is that how
citizen.
you make is that where your income comes from? You
Well, I
make
don't
a
get
profit?
income, sir. I definitely don't get income.
So this is a whole different little creative system outside of the traditional.
It's just, we have to go back to presumptions and assumptions. Like, why does everyone get an LLC? So you tell me, why do you have an LLC?
I did it because seemed like the easiest thing at the time for my needs. And here in Washington
Right.
State, they only had a few
Yeah.
options to choose from. And I was definitely not going to do a nonprofit after hearing all the horror stories from other people about trying to start theirs.
Right. But like, so the point is, we don't even know why we're doing these things. Why do like, I had a Delaware LLC at once. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. So
I was sole proprietorship, which I was fine with. And I hired a business coach, and he's the one that talked me into an LLC. And I don't remember what his exact arguments were, but it made
Right.
sense at the time. And I said, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and do that.
Right. So I guess to keep it extremely simple, I'm not going to try and disparage so many of the folks that we run across on the panels and whatnot, but too many people like to get in the weeds and go, oh, well, there's this presumption, that presumption, it's evil. Like, no, I'm not about that. I'm about, law is very simple. Like, when you sign the LLC document, the EIN, all that stuff, like, you agree to be under the jurisdiction of the law, the state of Washington, and then you agree to all their terms.
And the county
Like,
and the city.
So I went back a couple of years ago when I had already gotten rid of my, I just not involved with the LLC anymore. And I was like, wait a second, what were the terms that I agreed with? And I looked at it, and it was on Delaware, I guess in Delaware. It's literally like 600 terms. And I'm like, my dishonorable dumbass did not read all of these terms. So I agree to all this shit. And then if there was any issue, there never was, I would have to hire an attorney to speak for me, because I can't possibly know what all this says. I don't know what language is written in, what definitions they're using, all the bullshit, right? Now, don't get me wrong. In faith, like, the codes are written like that. They're written for a purpose. Like, it's supposed to be a guideline. Like, if you and me are doing some kind of busyness and we're in good faith, we don't need to write down 600 terms. If then. No, because like, if there's like, maybe one page, my agreements are now 1, 2, maybe 3 pages max. And it's just really to lay out, what did we say? It's really just because sometimes it gets complex. What did we say?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a reference point, but essentially it's a handshake, and it's made in good faith. And so it's easier this way. And we presumably, like, if there's an issue, we'll discuss it as men, deal with it in good faith and honor, and deal with it. And if not, go our separate ways. Because what's the whole thing with a corporate contract anyway, and saying, oh, we'll go to the state of Delaware court to do. I don't want to do that. If you agree to pay me for something, I give it to you, and then you don't pay me, I don't want to go and kneel down at the altar of Judge Slavin, whatever these seemingly corporate commercial guys, and go, hey, he didn't pay. I don't even want to do it. It's just keep it.
It depends on the value of the thing too. I mean, if it's a few $100, that's not a big deal. But if it's hundreds of thousands of dollars and you do it and they don't pay, that changes the picture a little bit.
Who's the asshole if I'm doing something and not getting any of the payment up front or a percentage along the way? Like, I'm the dumbass in that situation. Like, we can't just rely on this big infrastructure that's always going to have our back when we have bad discernment, they make bad business deals or take bad job offers or invest in stupid shit coins or bad stocks. And then, like Sam Bankman-Fried, he went away with 40 billion. This Vietnamese lady, 40 billion, insane. But like, it's not just, oh, these evil people did bad stuff. It's like, well, you put your trust and faith and fiat in their hands. Nobody forced you to do that. That was a private contract. So, after the fact, whatever, but, you don't need the 600 terms if you're if you're working in good faith.
Whatever you're doing, it seems to be working for you.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, I mean, I don't have issues, but also I'm very discerning, right? Like, I always say to everyone, look, I'm not making a contract between my non-existent entity and yours. It's just like, you're going to put your name on that paper, the Google Doc, the DocuSign. And if you don't, have a nice day. I'm not going to be convinced that, and even after this, a 1.5 hour conversation, somebody will go, after the fact, before they sign, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to send you this IRS form, this one. I'm like, dude, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I thought it was super clear, have a nice day. I'm not doing this. So, if you really want to work with me with XYZ, then, I'm not changing my morals and ethics for you. And again, that goes back to leverage, right? In value, who and what you are and what you have and your expertise. You don't need to make concessions like that. So,
do businesses accommodate, like when you do business to business, do they go along with that too?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, because they don't want to deal with all that bullshit anyway. So, sometimes, I mean, I don't even ever try to like talk to Fortune 5,000 or Fortune, like the gigantic companies.
Oh, so when you say business, it's not necessarily big business to big business.
I mean,
just...
look, at the end of the day, if a business has a need, again, let's say outside of the Fortune 5,000, but again, that list doesn't even make sense because those are publicly traded companies. So there's millions of private companies. There's millions of private people that aren't on the Forbes list because they don't have publicly traded companies. Like, it's just, there's so much opportunity out there. And again, we have this thing that can contact anyone at any time.
That was my next question. Do you find most of these people on the internet, or do you do like networking events or business lunches or societies?
It's mostly internet at this point, just because, I mean, that's the kind of lifestyle I wanted. I wanted to be able to travel. So I figured it out essentially by, like I said, getting into Facebook groups, finding where these folks are at, which apps do they use, getting into like virtual groups, masterminds. I've been in so many of these masterminds.
I've heard of I've heard of that.
Yeah, essentially, like the first, as I explained to you, like that first interaction I had with my mentor, he was running a mastermind. Essentially, all it is he's running his business. Everybody else runs their own separate businesses, and then he mentors folks to do a specific like subset of things. And his focus was just, okay, how to basically, if you had a job, it was how to go from having a job to being a freelancer. And then after you get some experience and clients, it's how to go from being a freelancer to actually having a business, right? A busyness, having folks work with you as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, I mean, the word mastermind is just when two or more minds come together on a single focus. And okay, like as deliverables, you can, just so it's clear, it's like, there was really only 4 aspects of the group. It was a lot of group calls, kind of like this, like weekly group calls at about a specific topic. People come up, ask questions, the host answers, etc. And it's just based on merit. That's why I loved it. It's just based on merit. It's like if anybody starts talking and it's like, wait, well, have you solved this before? No. So why are you talking? Like everybody gets that. Like it's so true. Like business people, there's like just a paragon of just like sticking to what's true that I love. Now, again, a lot of folks sacrifice their morals and ethics a lot of the time, which is a big problem, right? But in the sense of that, like, okay, what's true? It's really great. So weekly group calls, like a Facebook group where you ask questions, answer questions, give value. an accountability partner, essentially, like an accountability coach, so that if you say you're going to do something, they just will randomly call you and just check up on
Ooh, I
your
hate
goals.
that. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't need babysitting.
Well, I mean, after a while, for the guys that just do it, then they don't need the accountability coach anymore.
Oh,
Right? But
okay.
sometimes
Yeah,
some
I'm one of
guys do.
those.
Yeah, you'd be great. Yeah, you'd be great.
But that does help you. It does help people to have
because they
people
know
check in on them.
they know it's also a group dynamic, right? It's I want to be like the folks who are at a higher level than me, and they're telling me, dude, just like my mentor told me, he's like, dude, just send 20 messages on this freelancing platform called Upwork. Send 20 proposals, messages on there a day. Will you do it? Yes or no? And I'm like, yes. Okay, great. See you in 7 days on my call in 7 days from now. And I want to see your screen share of you showing 140 messages. It's like basic. So if I said, yes, I'm going to do that, and then I don't, well, he's going to scold me. Rightfully so. It's drill sergeant stuff. It's rightfully so. And so I've sort of adopted that kind of style. The other way doesn't work. Where because every time if I'm now I was doing well, so I was running some calls as well. So it's like if I was like at the beginning being like, oh, you didn't send the proposal, oh, you didn't feel like sending them, okay, try again next week. They never do it. You know, like they never do it, dude. So, and like, look, the drill sergeant thing, it's not about like forget the war aspect. The being direct and like scolding is, I actually do care. Like if you have to actually convince the other person that that's true. Like in college, my mentor is this glorious woman. She's so amazing, and she was brutal, but she loved us, and she demonstrated that by being there like after hours, constantly. And like crying and just doing anything she possibly could to make us succeed. We had like a 98% graduation rate in our class, and her when she was the boss. When like the average graduation rate for engineering schools is like, or at least on time, is like 27%. So she absolutely crushed because she cared. The other people that just don't care, they're not going to show up on the weekend. So I've adopted that. That's what works for me. The Talcadian style. Oh, okay, brother. You want to send messages later? Okay. Have a good nappy nap. Go ahead. You deserve it. I'm just gonna love you to death. It's too much of that.
I'm thinking a little bit about because I work most off of intrinsic motivation and trying to find what people are going to naturally do on their own and then work around that. So you have me kind of expanding my thinking into what about the stuff they're not going to do naturally?
Yeah, I mean, look, I told you the only two qualifiers that my mentor told me was, are you coachable? I said, yes, that's easy. Been in sports all my life. You know, I'm an athlete. Okay, it's easy. And are you self-motivated? That is very important because I can't I can try to my heart's content. I can't put that inside of you. That sounds scary.
The self-motivation.
I can't do that for you. I can't. I mean, there's been so many times where like the guys, I'm just like, why didn't you send the proposals you said you wanted them to do last week? What's your again? Let's go back to why you're starting a business. Why are you running it? Why are you doing anything? Why did you join this mastermind? What's the point? Oh, I want to be free. Why? Because I don't want to be a slave. Why? Oh, because I hated a job and I'm smarter than that. Okay, prove it. I'm giving you the formula. I'm showing them me doing the work too. I'm not like just some asshole going like this, like some boss that just doesn't do anything. And I'm like, look, this is the boilerplate. Look, Jimmy's doing it too. Johnny's doing it too. Sarah's doing it too. Look, Sarah, how many pros did you send today? 37, 24, 56. What's your results this month? Oh, I made 9,000 this month. Oh, how much did you get? 5,000 this month. Okay, you 25,000. Right. Oh, it seems like there's a correlation. Like the guy I'm holding. Jeff, how many did you send today? 0. What's your revenue this month? 0. Oh my God. It's like there's this magic formula of the universe that nobody knows, that all the secret cabal is just keeping from us. There's literally a fucking line graph. Send more messages
and
out.
that helped. That worked on you. That helped you.
it helps. Like, that's why I really like the group thing, because it does help. Oh, on me?
Yeah.
That's just, it's logic, dude. Like, that's just true.
That would not
You
work.
send more
Oof.
messages out.
But like
to
when
potential.
you're spinning out your you show me that stack of ideas. That's something that comes naturally. Like no one's having to
True.
prompt you to get those ideas
Of
out. They
course.
just kind of come on their own.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I needed to get somebody like a drill sergeant that will go, dude, shut up about those ideas. Like, just follow these. Look at this idea. It's working. You want this ultimate goal of like freedom and travel wherever you want to go, right? Yes.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
like,
So just follow it.
find the idea in there that's going to give you that.
You can do that, but like, it's just, there's so much cloudiness and like ambiguity, and there's still plenty of creative like freedom to just follow a process that works. For example, like what I learned was just how to run a business, and it's how to run a B2B business. So now I sit here. Yes, I was selling websites at the beginning. I didn't necessarily enjoy that. Now I can do anything. I hire and manage people. I know marketing. I know sales. I've done 5,000 plus sales calls. I mean, all of these skills, now I can work with other folks and train them to do it, run it in my own things. That's freedom to me. So and also, you don't have to sell websites. You just sell whatever. If you know how to like do marketing and sales, you can just create whatever you want.
This is why I like these conversations and talking to people like you, because it helps me start to see the part that I'm not bad at, but not the part that I'm resistant to.
I do that all day, dude. Dude, right now I'm doing cold calling. I fucking hate it.
You're doing what?
Fucking cold calling, just brutal, just like hello, and then yeah, and it's working. It's already working. We're doing it for 2 weeks or so. Some days I hate it. Some days, honestly, I bitch out, and I hide in this bed, and I just watch YouTube.
But you do it because it's like part of a larger purpose that you.
Yeah, I mean,
see the value in.
It's a huge opportunity. The product that I'm offering matches completely perfectly to this list of people that I developed, and it's like it's just a huge opportunity. So and I want to go past my fears, and I actually already kind of have in doing a couple of hundred. It's like after a while, it's just like it's just a math thing that why do you know, and because I care, right? So this is another aspect. It's like a niche. You have to think about what niche you could. This would be great for you. Like I watched like 5 or 6, 7 like YouTubers that are kind of guys like you that talk about that do cold calling, also admit that they hate it, but I kind of are like the mental health, like that world, the psychology kind of thing. And they're like, I hate this. This is the worst. But he's like, but I still do it. And it's just like, but he's giving a lot of insights, right? It's about insights. Like what value is what's rare, right? So you can't have valuable insights if the information that you have is the same as everybody else. So if a guy that actually it cares, is honorable, is a genuinely good being, and does cold calling, I'm just giving an example, right? Then he has a very unique, valuable, sharp insight that assholes like me, millions of people are afraid of cold calling. They're afraid of getting, I think Moose would be. He was just here. I like to mess with Moose also. But like, but I was like that too before my mentor. I was in my college library after I already graduated on the group call, and it's dead silent. There's like 50 people in the room. It's like the computer lab. And my mentor, Alex, goes, dude, he's just like, oh my God. He's just like, you need to get over this fear. Because I was very soft-spoken before, introverted. And he goes, just stand on your chair right now and just yell at the top of your lungs for 20 seconds. And I'm like, come on, man.
I can get down with that.
And I'm remembering it right now, and that pang of like, what will people think of me? It's like, because there's trauma there of like people going in the past going, man, we don't want to hear your ideas. You're weird. You're black. You got those black sheep, ADHD, nerd, whatever the fuck you call it, ideas. So, but I did it, and then people just went like this, and then like went about their day like nobody cared. So I was like, and then I did it again, and like nobody cares. There's no consequence to screaming at your local library. It's maybe unethical and against the library's policies, oh my God,
I don't
like,
know. It
sue
might
me. I
bring out
yelled in the
a
library.
Karen or two.
Right. Okay. And then you deal with it. So, you know what? I'm not sorry because I just grew as a being. You know, Karen, will you forgive me? I'm probably not going to do it again. Let me say, just the library is so great. I'm going to pick up the trash for 10 minutes before I leave. How about that? Is that honorable? Is that? It's like, that's what I would have said, I guess. But
Honorable rebellion.
yeah. And
Rebel with honor.
so
There you go, Joe.
it's really about being precise, though, about precision. It's like, what exactly is the issue? And again, this is like great content for you. You can just pick a thing, like pick a niche, pick entrepreneurs, pick guys that want to do cold calling but are afraid, like folks that are having too many creative ideas, but they keep like switching, and then that constant switching just gets them nowhere. It's like a boat going 5 kilometers this way, stopping and turning and going this way, stopping and turning, going this way. It's a disaster. So, and people will pay for that answer. Like they'll pay for that solution if you
Yeah,
can
that's
help
where the
them.
coaching comes in.
Yeah, because then it's just, hey, it's just like maybe it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday call where you're holding them accountable, where you're kind of playing both aspects, where you do understand the psychology and the creative stuff and the head in the clouds, but then also you're kind of structuring what you're doing for them as like, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to talk to you and like I'm going to hold you accountable, and then you can even put it in the contract, put it in the agreement. That's what I would do. So look, if you don't do X, Y, Z, you lose all the rest of the calls, and I keep all the money, and fuck you, because I can't pick up the phone for you and make the call. Like that's, what else do you want from? I'm not going to fly to your house and like pick up the phone and like do the call for you and then let you keep all the money. Like, what is that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's about precision, man. Like for example, the cold calling. I'm like, okay, why? And then it's like, listen to some of these guys talk about it, help me to get over the fear. It's just like, I'm not a piece of shit. So I don't like to call. I don't like to be called and then some garbage comes through the phone. Hello, do you want insurance? Like this dude Joe was like, oh, everybody needs insurance. I don't. I don't need insurance. So if you call me and try to sell me insurance, I'm like, I don't. For what?
Are you calling them out of a phone book, or it's like some pre-screened list that you know
I
they're
make the
receptive?
list. I make the list, so I know exactly who I'm calling. There's a lot of work that goes into it. That's a skill on its own. Some people make a living just
Finding the leads,
like sifting and like organizing a list. It's just a skill, right? So if I know I'm going to call 500 people, let's say today, 500 dials. Let's say I'm going big today. It's like I did this calculation. It's like, okay, I'm bothering everyone, or is it the like? I'm not going to bore you with the details, but essentially, I know that about 25% of people are going to pick up because we have some magic. So 25% means 125 people are going to answer the phone. Yeah, it's a lot. The standard rate is like 5%. So if I know 125 people are going to pick up, then it means 375 are not. Okay, so 375 people maybe saw their phone go ring, 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 an unknown number, and then they didn't answer. Oh my God, I ruined their lives. Right? No, I didn't. And then some of those people have do not disturb on, so their phone doesn't even ring. They just looked at missed calls.
I never answer those calls. Right. They're not even going to remember you like the next day, even
of course they're not, right?
Later that
so
day.
So the 125 that do answer, it's like I do my rap, right? And like 80% of people are going to be like, you know what? It's just not relevant at this time, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, fine. It took me 1 minute for me to be like, to actually like sincerely and like benevolently reach out to them and be like, hey, according to your website, according to social media, according to XYZ, seems like you have this problem. Do you? No. Okay. Forgive me. Bye. Right. So that's 100 people that have wasted 1 minute of their lives. No, I was just trying to help them out. So that leaves 25 people that I may actually help. So it was worth the calls. So it's just like, what am I afraid of? I'm not wasting anybody's time if I'm diligently doing it.
Welcome, Axis.
Hey, Jeff.
What's up?
I'll wait till you get through, man, and you got some time.
Do what?
I'll wait till you get through with your conversation.
Oh no, we've been talking for a while. Yeah, I'm glad you came up. I seriously have a lot to think about.
Yeah, I'm happy OTW opened this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, OTW. There's a lot of convergence here today and synchronicity. A lot of conversations, I think, that needed to happen that I didn't even necessarily know to look for.
yeah, I'm glad to be of assistance. I mean, like my mentor said, he looks for folks that were self-motivated and coachable. And anybody that I work with, it's like, okay, it's those two things, but just I add honorable on because that's, you know, that matters a
Whatever
lot. So
that
it's really
means in the
well, I
world
mean,
of
honoring your
capitalism.
word.
Yeah.
No, it's outside of it's outside of it. Like I'll tell you, me and that mentor, we had a falling out because he kept wanting to promote the Slavid and the medication, and he was just saying, "Hey, I get it. It's great. Follow whatever the big companies and the global government says." And I don't. We just didn't see eye to eye on that anymore, and so I had to stop working with him. So it's things like
Well,
that.
people are wanting to know that that the curtain is not where you have your bed. That you have a bigger bed than just that.
Yeah, I mean that's just like a couch.
Okay, so you
It's like
can
a
you can
convert.
rest, not loss.
I used to,
Axis, what's up?
yeah, go ahead, man. Greetings, Axis.
Just going through a really bad time.
You everything okay?
No,
Are you on Discord at all?
no.
Do you have email?
Yeah, I got an email.
Can you put in the back or? Because here's where I'm at. I still have to run out, and it's getting dark here, so I have to go get that taken care of. And then when I get back, I'll be able to talk to you. We can do a one-on-one if you want.
That's all right, bro. You do what you gotta do.
No, Axis, I don't mind being there. I just have to make sure that I get out today, so I'll have my shit done for tomorrow. It's real foggy here too. I haven't been able to see more than a foot in front of me.
It's just accessratblood@gmail.com.
It's just okay. Here, I'm gonna send you mine right now. Same as it's spelled here. Let's see. Yep. Okay, I just sent you mine. And what I'll do is I'll email you when I get back. Probably like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, hang in there. We'll talk soon. Okay. Tim, thanks for coming up today. Come back anytime. I'm serious.
Thanks for
I
having me,
think
man. Good to
not only
good to
did
meet
you give me a lot to think about, I think you may have helped a lot of other people out there too. So
Yeah, maybe so. And yeah, if there's something interesting about this, what you're saying about the whole creative thing and organizing that and that kind of stuff. So, um,
do you
yeah, we could,
you have you have a channel? Like, is this? I mean, you have a
not
channel,
really.
but do you? No.
Not really. I
Is there
mean,
anything you want to promote?
nah, man.
Website,
Nah,
Twitter, anything?
nah, brother. I'll see you
Okay.
another time. Thank you,
All
though.
all right. Well, we'll see you around. Thanks again.
Cheers.
Okay.
Later, man.
Take care. Philip, because I need to get out and get my shit done. So that's why. Okay. Oh, Angeline, I'd love to have you on. We can even do like where we schedule it, and you just we do it as a guest show with just me and you, and then we can open up the panel after we have our talk. Um, if I'm out later, it'll be one of the fireside chat things vertical. I'm not sure. Tomorrow I'm gonna be if I show up at all, it's gonna be an hour later. I have a lot going on in the morning. I have back-to-back appointments. Um, so if I come on tomorrow at all, it'll be 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. If you don't see me tomorrow, that means that I took the day off, and I'll be back Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Joe and I will be here for our Nexus thing. Angeline, good to see you. Have a good night. Let's talk soon. Philip, Moose, Not Lost. Timmy, thank you for coming up. OTW, thank you again for the audience. It was very productive. Got a lot out of it. Here, I'm going to drop OTW's channel. For those of you that haven't checked him out yet, you can give him a... Ooh, hang on. Where is he? Why? Our channel's so hard to find on YouTube. Here you go. Here he is, OTW News. All right, I got to run before it gets too dark and too cold. Hopefully I can see. I might have to take my headlamp with me. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks again and take care, everyone. All right. Out.